The following is a presentation of the Force Center podcast feed.
Hello there, my friends. Hello there. I'm Ken Napzok. This is a live ForceCenter Q&A.
And I am Joseph Scrimshaw. Hello there to you watching. Hello there to Ken. And hello there to this large glass of fluid.
Woo-hoo. I am drinking from my Grogu mug, which usually spells trouble. That's what
is
we
the
do
mug
here.
just too deep? Is it too deep?
This was gifted from my pal Robbie Smith, listener of the show, and it's just adorable. It is, I mean, I don't have the biggest, Roddy Piper fist in the world, but look at the size comparison. It's too big. Too big.
It is generous Grogu cup.
It is. People checking in here. Joshua Bernard's here. Tim Van Newland checking in across the pond. And Joel Ramirez say we are live. David McKay, AK Channel 19, saying fluid. One of my favorites from the Twitch side of things, Crafted Jedi 66 is here as well. Matthew Stokes. Matty Gunner is here. My favorite hard rock. Hard rock doesn't even really capture what Matty Gunner sings. He's one of those, what do you call him? Rage rockers. He's that's Matty. That's Matty.
Yeah, in the perfect name for it.
Oh, that's the greatest rock turn ever.
Yeah.
Here we are. Friday. Joseph, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. It's a running joke almost that probably because we do it on Friday afternoon, but you and I are always running into these a little stressed. Like, well, we're going to have to maybe warn everybody we're a little tired, we're a little stressed. And maybe that's just Friday and we don't need to make a special thing of it. But yeah, I was real busy running down some holiday presents and some props for this short film I'm shooting on Sunday. And I was in Glendale 20 minutes ago, but now I'm here on the internet. In the Force.
I don't want to turn this into the Californians, but the fact that you were able to get to Glendale to where you live inside that amount of time, that's impressive, sir.
I was channeling Poe Dameron. I can drive anything. My Yaris. But.
Your Yaris. Brian Ward is here. Our good friend Brian Ward. Love having Brian around these parts. Matty Gunner says, Rage Rocker. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever called me. And Trey T, he wants a fun announcement. Now, Joseph, we're not doing the announcement yet, but we're pretty excited for this announcement. Yeah.
We are excited for the announcement, and we're going to wait until about a half an hour in, just because it takes sometimes a little bit of time for everybody to get here, and we want to make sure that we have a max Force Center friends before we make the announcement. So it'll be coming soon. I can see the numbers now, and there was a fluctuation when I said it'll be in about half an hour, and two people were gone. The announcement is wanted now. I see.
Amaranth is here. I want to shout out Amaranth for always being so wonderful in the comments here on the YouTube side on our podcast rebroadcast. Amaranth, we see you.
I want to shout out this next comment from Serenity Jane that was made while waiting for the Q&A to start here. Serenity Jane is clearly a crafter. Says 2023 goal: figure out how to crochet a Terra Sinube doll for Joseph. I am honored. I would love that. My wife is a crafting person, knitting and crocheting. So Terra Sinube would be amazing.
That would absolutely. I mean, there's not enough Terra Sinube merchandise out there, but a original handcrafted crocheted Sinube. It seems right.
Imagine how cute the cane saber would be.
You got to pull that. The fact that they haven't sold a cane saber yet at Galaxy's Edge is, I'll choose hope. We'll get there one.
It's fun and it's practical. Come on, they're going to get there. Ken, I went on a little bit about my adventure getting here today. Do you want to share anything with your day, your temperament as we head in to our fun?
Yeah, it's quite a temperament here. First of all, shout out our super chat. First super chat of the day from our buddy Ken Bloom. Cheers to wonderful old Force building and loan. And by the way, Ken, I did not place high today, other than a very well earned fourth place finish on Fortnite. We have a nice vintage house is the way to say it here that we're renting. We have a very nice landlord. We keep it for her and her family. It was her grandfather built this house in 1920. So that's great. I love that vintage LA house here. The wiring is also vintage. So earlier this week, I lost a lot of power in this studio. Like there's slight chance I could just go dark and you must carry on without me. And so finally, very nice electrician. I'm not here to talk bad about a working man just kind of plying his trade. He just doesn't communicate well. And I said, I need you kind of out of the house by 3 because I got some things to do, some work. I didn't want to say Star Wars live stream. And at 3:20, I was still going, yep. Roddy Piper punched me. It was fun. Yep, cool. Yep. I should not have mentioned I worked in wrestling. Cool. Let's go. And so I finally sat down around the time you were heading home from Glendale. So,
so we both had adventures to get to the fun, but now we're here and now the fun can begin.
Yeah. Excellent mystery wiring. Yeah. Exciting mystery wiring. Yeah. It's one of those things where I asked the electrician, I was like, but with the lights flicker and stuff, like, how bad is that for us? Like, what? He goes, it's not too bad. That's how a lot of houses burn down and everything. But I was like, what? Well, come on, man. You can't just say that. Those are two things that don't go together.
It's not bad. Just the worst case scenario.
Yeah. We've got some questions already picked out. If you guys want to participate in the chat, just put a question in the chat. We'll get to it. And if we miss it or you think we missed it, ask it again. Super chats and stickers are always appreciated, but not necessary to get you in the conversation. I'm losing my voice. So, Joseph, find a question you want us to answer because I need a mute.
Well, we we're growing here and we're figuring out all the functions. And last time out on our Q&A, we remembered there's this starring function so we can find the questions. We've got one here from Gaz Nottingham that I can see people in the chat are already discussing. Gaz asks, what book of series would you like to see next? I'd love to see the Book of Bo-Katan exploring after Rebels, leading to the Night of 1,000 Tears through to season 2 of Mandalorian. But wait, there's more. Also, every book of series should call chapter 5 The Mandalorian as per Book of Boba Fett. So to continue to further Din story between Mandalorian season, enhance each book of show. Thoughts? Ken, how's your voice? Are you capable of communicating thoughts?
It's good. I can communicate thoughts. This is wonderful. It's funny. My mind and heart goes to like in the Mandoverse timeline. Like that seems like it fits well. So I'll start there. Then I'll try to find one from another time period. I know we were going to have that series that I don't think there was a lot planned behind it. Just a title card and a title. But we got the Rangers of the New Republic. If that's not happening, which it isn't, the Book of Carson Teva. A space gumshoe on the hunt for what's going on out there in the Outer Rim. That's what I want.
Oh, that is a very good pick. I think just exploding out of the Mandoverse that we know, we've been introduced to so many interesting characters and wanting to spend a little bit more time with them. My first thought is Book of Cobb Vanth.
Yeah.
Just spend some good time with Timothy Oliphant trying on different shirts. Different little space ascots, scarves. I just he's so charming. He's so interesting. I love the story of I need this armor to protect my people. Yeah. I don't have my armor, and the next time I try to protect my people, I get metal guts to save my life.
We make the connection with Oliphant and a lot of his more iconic roles. And Cobb Vanth had that Western vibe to begin with, and then Oliphant takes it over, and we got Justified. One of my favorites is Deadwood. I mean, Mos Pelgo could be its own Book of Space Deadwood. Like, you could really have him settle in that town.
Oh yeah, and Timothy Oliphant directly complains about Ewoks in Scream 2. So I would love to see, ironically, to have Cobb Vanth team up with some desert Ewoks who have moved to Tatooine to see what that's like.
What is there? I was gonna say there's more. There's probably less coverings on the Ewoks. No skulls on their heads. Maybe extra water. That'd be great. Some sand slippers. What are sand slippers? I don't know. Ewoks now.
So, yeah, that's what the Ewoks make and sell on Tatooine. Now, I'm sure that he's a character who will be explored in Mandalorian. I just think he's so charming. I want to see, Book of Cobb Vanth, Chapter 1. Think it through. I would enjoy that very much.
I love that. Yeah, as far as like another, I was going to say another timeline, but you could probably place it in the same timeline. It was also a pick of mine to be a character in this Rangers of the Republic, Book of Iden Versio. I was just talking with a couple people, and I actually came up on, I think, one of my Twitch streams recently, too, of just the story mode on Battlefront 2 remains one of my favorites. And love the characters, love Iden, love the lessons learned. Her father's an interesting, sad, tragic character. Del Mico, the whole bunch. Shriv, we love Shriv. Zay, her daughter. Like there's something there, and you have a great performer like Janina Gavankar, who could really easily inhabit that role in live action. So figure out the Book of Iden.
Yeah. Book of Quinlan Voss would be up there for me too. I love that Quinlan Voss is out there. We don't know his fate, and I would love to see it in live action.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, we got some great answers here. I'm going to bring up any you see, Joseph, that you love, because this is a Book of Dewey and Freddie. Look at that. Brian Ward wants the Book of Joe Yowza.
Yeah, I want that to happen inside Joe Yowza. Like the first scene is him singing, and then instead of just stopping with the close up of his mouth, we go inside and we meet the midi-chlorians that live in between Joe Yowza's teeth.
I love that. Douglas Dubois got the Book of Nass. I could deal with that. I love that. There's a lot of great choices.
Yeah, ton of great ones. Hot Ewoks. Yeah, we talked about the hot wampas, the dirty wampas recently. The hot Ewoks.
Yeah. Was that something? Did Jen say that or you? I can't remember.
No, Jen said hot wampas. I said dirty wampas because you know I've gone on about snert in Minnesota where the snow and the dirt mix and it becomes snert. They look like snert wampas, like they're covered in snert.
Yeah.
So that's the dirty, but all credit to Jen for hot wampas.
Yeah, they were running with that in the Discord. Someone actually, I forget who. I'll have to give them credit, but when I find it later. But they put a wampa in a bikini and said hot wampa. And I think that our buddy Ken Plume says Book of Dexter Jetster. Brian Ward and I definitely would want that. And we should plug just this morning, Joseph. We released our Padawan book review and discussion, which has a lot of Dexter in it that we both loved.
Yeah, and a lot of good Dexter discussion. And yeah, Dexter Jetster's one of those like joke characters that would definitely you would hear a thousand eyes roll if that was announced. But like it's a legitimately interesting character, particularly like from the Andor perspective of like here's this guy who's had all these jobs, lived all these different lives, has this wisdom. Yeah, there'd be a lot of exciting adventures, not just pulling up his pants, but that too.
That would be the first shot. I'd fade in on him pulling up his pants, but then he's like going into a battle or going into a mine or something like that. Start where the crowd wants it. We got some super chats to get to here. We appreciate those. We really, really do. Helps keep the show going. But I do want to go to actually one of the first questions we had submitted today. Our buddy Mike Fink checking in says, as the kids sat, it's cuffing season. Which two Star Wars characters would you like to set up to meet and get to know one another? Now, Joseph, off air, we think we know what cuffing season is.
Yeah, I think it's Holonet and Chill. Is that right?
It's Holonet and Chill. I think that sounds like it. In terms of Star Wars romance, that's or just not even romance. Just see if the kids hit off. What do you got?
I Googled it. Cuffing season is a social phenomenon that carries some negative connotations because it suggests people handcuff themselves to a partner out of necessity or desperation. But there's no shame in wanting a relationship when the days are dark and cold. So I'm going to infer that's like, cuffing is, this is exactly what I want to be doing. Trying to explain youth phrases on the internet to live on YouTube. I'm going to stop now. I have enough context.
Yeah, you're doing great work there. Doing great work. You explained it there. Yeah. So, what Star Wars characters would we want? It's fun. Like, look, I used to always joke about this, even back in the Jedi Alliance. Remember, I'd make this joke, but now, especially after Andor, I'm dying for Mothma to leave her just dead fish of a husband, and you sit down for a meeting on the future of the rebellion with old Crix mating.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Mothma as well. We can come up with some other ones. But I'm almost done with my Rebels rewatch that I've been talking about on the show, enjoying it so much. I'm in season 4, so I'm fully in the period of Hot Callus, where Callus has joined the rebellion and signified it by growing out his hair and letting it all go. And he spent some quality time on Yavin with Mothma.
Yeah.
And he seems like somebody with that nice low voice. Those two could do the most cozy ASMR together,
Yeah.
where they could just quietly whisper to one another about democracy. Mm. Mm.
Amaranth agrees. Oh yes, hot callus. Yeah, I'm trying to think a lot. I mean, it's like I would love to find someone for Kira. I don't think she needs it right now. She's very busy handling Crimson Dawn and fighting the Empire and all those things. I just feel like, I don't think she, much like Leia at one point in her life, maybe doesn't feel she could slow down and deserve just a, good old fashioned date, not even a relationship. So I'd want to find a bean in the galaxy for Kira.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun to think of timeline-wise of who that could possibly be.
Possibly. Amaranth points out Callus may be cuffed to Zeb.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
I am very open to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Oh no, Brian just broke my heart.
That doesn't, in my opinion, that can't possibly work because for me, and my apologies to Brian, but I just sharing my opinion. I respect all opinions. When I picture what I think cuffing season is, there's some cuddling, right? There's some leaning on shoulders. How can you lean on Dash Rendar's shoulder when it's got a massive, outsized, drawn by Jim Lee in 1991, bleeping huge shoulder pad? Playing football, shoulder pad. You can't lean against that.
Yeah, there you
lean
go.
your head against Dash Rendar's shoulders. Doesn't work practically.
Yeah, Lawrence back goes Kira and Afra. I could ship that. Yeah, back Chase says Kira and Dash. So we gotta vote for that.
Okay, fair enough. I'm outvoted already. 2-1.
I know. I my anti-Dash bias. I can't let rob anyone of their love and affection for Dash Rendar. If you're a fan out there, it's just never been one of my favorites. So
you know what? Here's my other one. Chewie and Mala. Let's just get Chewbacca to have some quality time with his wife Mala Tobuk.
Yes,
I'm sure there is some sort of second to fourth honeymoon lovers only ritual tree on Kashyyyk.
Yeah,
that they can go to around the life day time. A little bit of snow falling, but they're all cozy in their treehouse.
A little snow on Kashyyyk.
A
little snert on Kashyyyk. There you go. Great question, Mike. I'm not even sure. We weren't even sure what you asked, but I think we ended up with the answers. That's what we did. What we did.
Dedra and Cyril. I've seen a couple of these Dedra and Cyril.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they'd probably literally be cuffed to one another. I think that.
Yeah.
There's some,
yeah. There's some stuff there. Good stuff there. Good stuff. Shane. Oops. Sorry.
No, we're in the same button.
We got some stuff to get to. You're up next, but I want to bring this one up here from Shane McGinnis. Keep it Diego Luna's family's thoughts and prayers as he's dealing with the loss of his father. So sad. I missed that news story. So that's much love to the Luna clan, House Luna out there. That's very sad. But our thoughts are with them.
Absolutely. Ken, should we go to this super chat?
Let's do it.
This comes to us from Joel Ramirez. Hope all is well, gentlemen. Thoughts on the Patty Jenkins situation? I'd love for her to come back, but regardless, what's true after seeing Top Gun and Devotion, I really want a fighter pilot story to happen in Star Wars. Totally understandable. There's been lots of ups and downs and articles and notes app explanations and tweets from James Gunn and Star Wars in the crossfire. I think this is so fascinating because I think that there's like the Patty Jenkins of it and dissecting all of those different stories for, and counterpoints from the creators involved, like James Gunn and like Patty Jenkins. But then there's also just the, like Joel is saying, fighter pilot movie in Star Wars. So, like, for me, I almost try to separate it a little bit of like, there's a possibility that Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, as announced, might not happen. the last thing Patty Jenkins said in her notes app is that it's still in development. But we also have a quote from Kathleen Kennedy of like, yep, we're still looking at it. We're still working on it, but it's not going to be our next thing. So who knows? Always in motion is the future. So I feel like there's a possibility that specific movie won't happen. But I wholeheartedly agree with Joel that I would love to see a big screen fighter pilot spaceship movie. It's such a huge part of the basic DNA of Star Wars. It seems like an obvious thing to me to really find a way to get into and celebrate and make fresh.
Yeah, just that title alone, right, made so many people think about the book series and Wedge and all the stuff from the Legends days. So that would make sense. So, yeah, as a two-part question, I'm with you on that one. I would love that. Yeah, everyone knows I love the Pew Pew Pew. One of my favorite movies of all time, quite frankly, is Memphis Belle, which I've mentioned every now and then, which is more bombers than fighters, but that's something there. It's about the characters, about the stories, it's about what they're fighting for, and the hows and the whys. So yeah, I'm behind that idea all the way. As far as Patty, yeah, we might pull this apart a little bit more on the new show this coming week. We'll figure that out. But yeah, I have no reason to think she's lying. You go to the notes app, you're putting your name on it, you're putting it out there. James Gunn has been, I think, great being out in front of stories as best he can. It's weird how people are pulling a lot of that apart, and there's some weird reaction to him, what I think being pretty honest, but also hiding some of the business because he has to. But regarding, what he said, nothing but professional. And then the stories are that, they asked her to retool it or whatever it was. And she said, no, none of us are in those meetings, that phrase we always kind of say around here. All that to say, sadly, I'm not going to go to Vegas and put money on her Rogue Squadron hitting the theaters. I just don't see it happening right now. But like you said, we don't know. Always motion in the future. In development does not mean not in development.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and maybe it is even, if Rogue Squadron is a real specific idea, maybe it isn't that, but maybe there is something else coming down the line eventually.
Yeah. But we talked about it. There's some chatter about this in our ForceCenter Discord, which you could access through our Patreon page at patreon.com/ForceCenter. Some great conversation, and a lot of optimism in our Discord for people who want to see the movie, still think the movie's coming, and I want them, and I told them in chat, hold on to that optimism. I don't have it right now, but it reminds me that I was moved by just the pitch. That video she made got me. I had tears in my eyes. I thought it was a great pitch and a great story. So there's always hope, and we choose hope around here.
Yeah, here's a follow-up here from Jared. It goes, hello, Jared. Jared says, I was really keen on Rogue Squadron possibly taking place after the Rise of Skywalker in the timeline, whether or not Patty returns to the project. Love her. I hope a version of it eventually emerges. Yeah, I think we talked about it a lot. I've looked it up, I feel like 800 times and then never fully remember, but there is some language in the tiny bit of press that Lucasfilm officially announced that made it sound like it would be after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. And I kind of think whatever timeline they're playing with might be after that. And I think that's really interesting in and of itself. But more than anything for me, if it's, set, regardless when it's set, I would love to meet pilots that we don't know. So we can feel the thrill that we did for those of us who read the High Republic of like, it's so great to meet and love like 6 or 7 new characters and not know. It's great with some characters you already know. That's a different kind of joy, but I think that's what would really give just kind of shocking and new tension to those space battles, right?
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh no, Green 7, whoever that was, sad, but like, no, I know, I know that person's hopes, I know their dreams, and now they're space dust. So upsetting.
Would you, sub question, in terms of, I agree with you, new characters, maybe 1 or 2 that we know, that's fine, but generally new characters in those cockpits. What if we have some second generation, some legacy? What if we have son of Jack Porkins flying an X-Wing as a belly runner in Rogue Squadron?
I want the hashtag Justice for Porkins to be flying through social media. So that'd be great. That'd be great.
Love it. Another one question coming in here. We want to get this one up because he's watching in a different time zone. Paul Whitley is right here. Says hello to guys from Liverpool, watching with my dad. Hope you're awesome today. We are. We're awesome because our day is ending here, and that's a great spot. First question: do you think we'll see Palpatine in Acolyte? My boy, I have died many times before. Ooh, oh, that's a tasty angle to that question. We've dealt with the Palpatine thing here. We'll talk about it more here, but I'll start here, Joseph. The fact that hey, maybe this isn't the first time. I think it's the first time he cheated death, but this is a witchy series. I'm ready to explore anything wild.
I love his delivery. That there on that line, there's some words that Palpatine finishes with a snap. So be it, Jedi, and then there's some he just lets sort of float away on the wind. I've died before. It just goes away with the wind. So beautiful. Yeah, I think timeline wise, I think there's this interesting question of like, does he have a picture of Sheev Palpatine that's keeping him young? Are we exploring that idea? Is it? I think as Paul is suggesting, that he maybe lived another life, and that the Palpatine we met is some other. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fascinated by it, and I always want to see more Palpatine. I think I'd almost be more interested in like a Palpatine relative. I'm not suggesting like the Palpatines have always been in the Sith business. It it runs in the family. But that would be interesting if there were a Palpatine in, if we met a Palpatine in the High Republic, because for a Palpatine to become a senator on Naboo, from what we know of the culture of Naboo, that could be that you're already in a little bit of a, upper class, wealthy family.
True.
Or, Naboo being just a jewel of democracy. It could also mean that, Sheev Palpatine was the son of, just some electricians, some dangerous electricians. With Ken's experiences and with Sheev's danger fingers. Electricity runs in the family, literally. So I don't think, if to borrow your phrase, Ken, I don't think I'd go to Vegas and place a lot of bets on Palpatine in Acolyte, but it's really intriguing.
Yeah, there's something that I think you and I are in line on, even though we've addressed it, talked about it, but for myself, I don't fully know how to explain it. I love the idea of Palpatine in the Acolyte, or a reference to a young Palpatine or a younger Palpatine, Tenebrous, any other of these Darths. And now we get word, we discussed with Daphne Keene saying, it's a Sith-led series, whatever that actually means. I'm just excited to learn about newer characters in this time period. I don't want this to be a Palpatine origin story in any way, shape, or form, or whatever that might be. And I don't want someone like Palpatine to dominate this particular story. I'm all up for more Palpatine. I'm all up for Ian McDiarmid. Anytime they can get him in the robes, do it.
Book of Sheev.
Book of Sheev, indeed. But this series, and Leslie Headland being such a, dedicated Star Wars fan, knowledgeable Star Wars fan, knows canon, legends, everything. She definitely is aware that Palpatine exists. So, and definitely knows what timeline she's in. I just don't want the headlines to read Palpatine series, when I think the Acolyte is going to be a lot more, which I think Paul agrees that his comment, I take it for what it is. Just a love of Palpatine, and he's important to the Star Wars story.
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to say is not really about Paul's question, but just hearing from somebody from Liverpool. I've got to visit Liverpool once, very, very briefly. But last weekend, my wife and I watched A Hard Day's Night, which I've seen many times, but haven't watched in a long time. I love it so much. And seeing the mention of Liverpool from Paul made me think about A Hard Day's Night. It made me think of Paul's very clean grandfather, and how he would have been good casting for Palpatine. If I had time and energy for a comedy mashup, I would love to do a mashup of A Hard Day's Night in Star Wars, where Sheev is Paul's very clean grandfather. He's a right mixer, that Sheev.
He's a right. That
giant hooter in that book.
Oh man, you and I every once in a while we tease other blank centers that we could be. A Beetle center could be it, but Hard Day's Night center could be. I quote that train sequence in my life so many times, in so many ways. He's very clean. Then who's that? That's Paul's grandfather. So there you go. Neil Anstock says, "Will Palpatine's butler be known as Sheev's cheese?" Yes. Yes, we will. And this is not the announcement. We're gonna have the announcement shortly. But Joseph, we can update people. We are, London's looking solid for us for Star Wars Celebration London. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have, I think, there's in total of 3 different things needed, right? Tickets to Star Wars Celebration, a place to sleep in London, and then travel to London. And I think yes, and I think we both have 2 out of the 3.
We have 2 out of the 3. 2 out of the 3.
Getting
And
close.
yeah, it's exciting. Look, it's gotten to the point where I'm doing my favorite thing. This is how boring my life is at times. I won't disclose where we're staying, but I know where we're staying. And I'm doing the Google Maps search on what it's going to be to walk around to a coffee shop or a pint to get a pint at a pub. Like I'm doing that thing already.
Oh, I'm so excited. I've looked up the trains that will get us to the part of London that I lived in briefly and the pubs that I want to go to. So yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Got to be a lot of fun. Experience. So we'll work on getting the third part of that equation. Sure.
Locked down. All right. We are a half an hour in. Yeah. Somebody was checking in if they missed the announcement. You have not missed the announcement. It was good to wait because we do have more of our friends here now, which is wonderful. Thank you for everyone who was here nice and early. But we did want to make sure that we reached as many of you as possible since we teased this fun announcement. And it is about some more content on YouTube. We are going to be doing a new thing. Ken, would you like to present the graphic?
Boom, boom.
We are going to be doing a YouTube only show called Figure Fights. Now, those of you who have maybe been watching Ken and I at different places for a long time, way back on this show on YouTube called Jedi Alliance, where Ken and I first talked Star Wars together. Ken was the host, and he would bring me on for guest appearances. And one time he was like, I just really want to have a fun show. Do you have any just kind of fun, bonkers ideas? And I was like, hey, what if we did a like who would win in a fight? But not the characters, the specific action figures. And Ken and I did it. Mike Black did it. A bunch of other guests did it with us. And we had so much fun. It is a chance to talk about how awesome the individual action figures are, have fun with the weird accessories they come with, have fun with whether they have vinyl to fight with or cloth capes to fight with. This is going to be coming every other week starting in February, and it's going to be short. It's going to be fun. I'm sure there'll be some emotional moments as we talk about our most beloved action figures, and we'll have to explain every episode. No, we're not saying that Wicket could defeat Darth Maul in Star Wars canon. But what we're asking is, can this specific action figure, this action figure of Wicket, beat this action figure of Darth Maul? And we hope to thrill and possibly confound the internet with our conclusions every episode. Ken, what are your thoughts on our new show, Figure Fights?
Yeah, this was so fun to do over at Jedi Alliance. It was it was absolutely silly. And a lot of people are saying, hey, the spirit of Databank Brawl returns, so kind of like Databank Brawl. Yeah, it absolutely is. But Databank Brawl was something special related to Joseph's desire to go through the databanks, and then that kind of became something it's very much his own. But like Joseph was saying, this is like looking at our memories of the figures. And Jedi Alliance, we used to just kind of concentrate on the Kenner side of things in the classic days. Joseph, we're going all over the figure spectrum here, right? We got Buff Luke versus regular Luke.
Yeah, this could be, Big Blue Tibidon Station Ben Kenobi Black Series versus Big Head Han from the very first Kenner line.
Yes.
We haven't even decided if we're going to have that on Fair Fight. If we're going to stick to 3 3/4. Can a 3 3/4 take out a Black Series, or is that an unfair match? These are the complex, important conversations that will be explored. Right. Brent Bum standing by says, but how will they fight if they haven't been unboxed? I do have fun with my not unboxing videos. For the most part, I leave my action figures in the package. I do take some of them out, but we will probably be using action figures that we don't own as well. Look, hello, Leia says hello. Yeah. So we'll be using all sorts of action figures in various graphic assets.
Right. So once again, Figure Fights coming your way in February, beginning as a bi-weekly show. And yeah, let's blow this up. So we have to do it almost every day. No, I'm kidding. Man, who knows? Maybe not. But we'll also just this is going to be fun because we're going to have a lot of cool people come on the show. This is a chance for us to kind of connect with the larger Star Wars world, but also people maybe you haven't heard talking about Star Wars. We're going to have a lot of fun with different names and some familiar faces around here as well once the show gets going. We might just start with you and I, Jennifer, just kind of get the wheels rolling. But we're going to have some fun.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. And yeah, like people said, it is definitely in the spirit of Databank Brawl. Databank Brawl really, we hadn't really planned it this way. It just happened organically that it became this kind of long form storytelling improv. We're probably not going to do that. We're probably going to keep the show a little bit shorter, a little bit tighter, and kind of do a round robin, making our arguments about who would win, why, see if we can change one another's minds. We're real excited about it because, this kind of thing, who would win in a fight is really fun. But we always want to be careful about not turning kind of deep, important things in Star Wars into just a who's stronger. Like that's a fun conversation to have, but sometimes that conversation can get muddled. This is a way for us to really dive into just the fun of who would win and keep it's fun, it's silly, and we can all have fun with it, even if we have strong opinions, which I'm already seeing, which is so great. Jeff says there are definitely 3 3/4 who can take out some Black Series. We'd love to see those strong opinions, and that's what we're hoping for. This kind of thing of like we can be real strong with our opinions, and it doesn't matter because we're talking about action figures and it's for fun.
Love it. Yeah, we people already got some ideas. Brian Ward definitely wants a Constable Zuvio episode, and then Vorlando comes in with Wet Attack the Clones Kenobi versus Constable Zuvio.
Wet Kenobi is so great. He looks shocked. His little hand is splayed out with the magnet. So great.
I love that there. Love that. There you go. Anakin Christmas is calling me out for the Luke versus Yoda question. No, not at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a great question. And those we're happy to have it was a thoughtful question. We had a ton of fun discussing it. It's just when everything becomes about that,
Yeah, and society has a way of turning everything into a fight that must be fought to the death, and that's not the spirit of Star Wars. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, stuff like this from Jared Cosell. How many sad Lobots does it take to defeat a Constable Zuvio? A question for the philosophers. I'm drunk already. And now figure fights on ForceCenter. Yep, there you go.
Like, we got characters come in 2-packs. So like, can 2 Jawas with the sunroof heads from Power of the Force 2? Can they beat one Black Series Java? That's it. That's a whole question.
Yeah.
The other thing for me about the who would, I mean, we did it with the Databank Brawl, but we're joking around, being like, at the end of the day, some of the who would win the fight, like Palpatine, Luke, Vader, Rey.
Yeah,
Come on,
Gormanda. Yeah, come on. Yeah, but one of the things too, going back to when this was done on Jedi Alliance, it was 2014 into 2015 were heady days in the Star Wars fandom. It didn't seem as heavy, but the fun memories of that show was, you and Mike Black, Michelle Boyd, I think Frankie Kazarian was on at one point, Mark Riley. It was really a celebration of our lived-in experience as Star Wars fans, no matter what generation. And I think we kind of maybe did that segment, Joseph, just to talk about the Imperial Dignitary in a time where not a lot of people were talking about it.
We were very excited. Do you remember the weird old purple guy? Yeah, what were they talking about? Exactly. Some great call outs to wonderful action figures. Mr. Needle Mouse 64 says Screaming Mace Windu will dominate all. I love Screaming Mace Windu. One of the Mace Windu figures I want is a 3 3/4 Black Series one where he it's just a solid Mace figure, but he just comes with Jango's head. Just to remind you, this is what I took. This is what I can take.
Already the show's inspiring so many things. Joseph, these comments are great. Battle damaged. Episode 3, Anakin is sweating everything. Lava. This is it. Again, across any format of figures, we all have those memories. We all have the ones that we held as kids. We have the ones we chase down now, the ones you and I look for at Targets and toy aisles everywhere. Ken Plume is here. He's raring to go. My side-eye Chewbacca is unstoppable. It's going to be fun. So once again here now, we'll bring it up and then we'll get back to some questions and maybe talk about this at the end of the show. But yeah, figure fights, ForceCenter figure fights coming here in February. We're also, I don't have fancy graphics, but we are going to be producing some short form ForceCenter essays. We have some out there already, but me, Joseph, and hopefully Jennifer, if she can, get to it as well. She's got a lot of things going as well. But little essays, thought things that'll be thought starters. They're going to be YouTube only here as we continue to grow the channel. So we'll also thank you all who have subbed, who have been subbed. Go ahead if you haven't already. You want to subscribe. We're trying to reach 7,000 subscribers as we build this channel to untold frontiers of subscriber numbers. So we appreciate the support so far.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who has been responding for our calls to get more subscribers, get those subscriber numbers up, and we wanted to let you know that more YouTube exclusive content is coming. Ken, can you throw that graphic up one more time?
Oh, I'd love to, because it's some of Brian Ward's best work.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to talk about. This is our wonderful friend Brian Ward, member of our community here, did this for us. And as always, Brian Ward knocked it out of the park. It's got that great episode 1 exploding red glow, and it's got some figures across different eras, including Vader.
Yes.
With the straight stick 'em up, no bend in the wrist lightsaber from back in the day. So just wanted everybody to take a second to appreciate that great graphic and all the great work that Brian has done for us over the years.
Absolutely, Brian's the best, and he did that graphic with not a lick of AI, all himself. All right, support artists out there as well.
And he says, "Will Bendems be allowed to participate in figure fights?"
Ooh.
And we're gonna have to run a poll on that. I don't know.
I'm staring at my Vader Bendem is hanging right behind my camera.
I don't want to disrespect any Bendem fans. I got so excited when I saw the corner of a Bendem package and thought Star Wars is back. I'm like, they're Bendems.
Almost there. Oh, great stuff. I'm excited. People are excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So now back to some questions here. I can't remember. Are you up or am I up here?
I think go for it, Ken.
All right, I'm going to catch up here. We got here. I'll pull up 2 here because we got a nice comment I want to share here. Paige Turner's There or Not, which is also Brennan Marr in chat. Finding your podcast is one of the greatest blessings of my life. You've helped me embrace the philosophy to save what I love instead of fighting what I hate. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all. Happy holidays to all. Brennan, we really appreciate that. Yeah, Brennan and his show, Paige Turner's There or Not, celebrate Star Wars as well. And we really love having you around here, Brennan. The last Schmodown, the FC, what was it? The other league. He was the last standing Star Wars champion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The FCL. No, that's fan. Yeah, I get it confused with fan controlled football. Josh McCouga's show that he's got going on over there. So, anyways. Brennan, thanks for that comment. But Joshua has a question here. Hey, Ken and Joseph, did you see that new Lego TIE Bomber, which comes out in 2023, comes with Rey Sloane? Do you think this is a spoiler and she will appear in an upcoming project? So this is great. Yes, I did see it. The TIE Bomber is one of my favorite Star Wars vehicles, I'd say, even though it's used for oppression. But I do like it. And yeah, it comes with, I think, Vice Admiral Rey Sloane. That's exciting. And I personally don't think it's attached to any project. However, Lego has a history of putting or things leaking, maybe even from Lego boxes that allow you to learn what's coming down the line. So I don't know. I think this one doesn't mean anything's coming, which actually in a weird way means more to me as a Rey Sloane fan, because that means she's still on the minds of people, Lucasfilm, Lego, toy designers, whatever you will say. And that gives me a hope that she will appear in a project one day outside of the video game, the Squadrons game where she did appear in.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like Lego with their minifigs in particular are aware that people want the fun and the weird and the offbeat. There's that I saw today when I was in Glendale, the Obi-Wan with the Delta 7 ship that comes with the Kaminoan. Not a minifig with that long neck, a very, very tall minifig. So that's fun. I do think there are possibilities for Rey Sloane.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the sign, but if Ahsoka is indeed the search for Ezra, and if Purgletown is where he was taken, if Purgletown is the unexplored regions in the area in the time a couple of years after Rey Sloane went there.
Yeah.
There's some possible breadcrumbs. I'll keep my enthusiasm contained, but
I agree with you. Jared Kozel agrees with you. Rey Sloane and Ahsoka, perhaps era would fit. It would fit indeed. So I'm hopeful. That's a great character. We've been big fans of Rey Sloane since the beginning here in Force Center. So there you go. Great stuff. Yeah. Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, I was scrolling for a specific question, but I am a fool. A fool, I say. We'll grab this one here from Michael Gibbons Media. Michael says, towards the end of the Legends timeline, Luke Skywalker knew about Mortis. What do you think would have happened if any version of Luke ever found his way there? That is great stuff. What do you think, Ken? Luke on Mortis.
Yeah, we were just talking about Qui-Gon either discovering Mortis. Was that really him on Mortis, or his spirit talking to Obi-Wan? So I love dealing with the Mortis stuff because Mortis is both wonderful, weird, and confusing all at once. And it's also, in a weird way, always been some of my favorite Star Wars, even though I'm always around for more PPP. Luke on Mortis. I love this idea. I love it after the fact, meaning I don't want him to, he couldn't. Well, Mortis also, the rules of time are a little bendy, right? Like Bendham's. So he could still, I guess, run into the father, the son, and the daughter at some point if time has no meaning. As Boba would say, I can't trace time, neither can Mortis. So that'd be interesting. I would like to something after the fact. Mortis itself, the planet calling Luke there on his journeys, him discovering some things. Maybe that's how, maybe get some visions, learns a little bit of more of Anakin, his heart and his journey, or what he once was. And we already know Luke would know where he got to, speaking of Anakin there. So that could be interesting, kind of self-discovery. And then, hey, you never know. A lot of people still think that Ahsoka's going to end up moving there, getting a nice studio apartment on Mortis at some point, just kind of holding out. And I've heard that theory before. Maybe Luke meets her there. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I am still in the camp of that's Ahsoka endgame. I know that's not the way the kids use the term endgame. That's about cuffing. But yeah, I do. I think Ahsoka ending up in Mortis in some way, reimagined Mortis helping to bring balance to the cosmic force makes a lot of sense. That would be amazing if Luke was a part of that story. I think, to me, the thing I think about with Luke is I love his journey after Return of the Jedi because he wants to know as much as he possibly can, not just about the Jedi past, but about the very nature of the Force, and realizing that it has so many facets. There's an element to it like Mortis, that there could be these beings, and did the gods of Mortis falling, how much did that contribute to the rise of darkness that was happening in the Clone Wars? Or is that just down to Sheev and his dad's poor choices? And Luke actually having a philosophical opinion about that. Luke exploring all sorts of things like Mortis. That to me really builds the Luke that we see in The Last Jedi, where it's like, it's not just good and bad. Who's going to win with the laser sword? It's all of these
so
deep,
more
philosophical, ethereal, esoteric, meditate deep into yourself, to the biggest to the smallest, it's all connected. Like, that's what on his mind when poor Rey shows up and doesn't have that life experience yet, and she's just like, the Jedi are powerful, they need to use their power against the bad guys. And he's like, I can't.
I would love that if that had been his first line. All right, let's start with Mortis. All right, come in, sit down. We got to talk about it next.
Have you ever been to a place where sometimes you just turn into a bird based on your mood? Have you?
I don't think so. That's great. But Michael Gibbons Media, love that. Love that profile picture too. A good piece of camera tech right there.
Yeah.
Love that. How about this question here? We got a question. I hope they're still up. They're watching it in Amsterdam. They about 20 minutes ago sent this one. G.J. Kuzman. I'm almost thought there was an L there. Hey, gents. Waving hello from Amsterdam at 1:30 a.m. and love the ending the week with y'all. If Disney Plus will be looking at a comedy series in the Star Wars universe, who, writers, actors, would you love to see in it? So I'm going to submit my showrunner. He's very funny. He knows the art of comedy. He studies comedy. He's done comedy. He also is very deep and profound. His name's Joseph Scrimshaw, and he wrote on a series called TikTok. And he would be the one I would trust to handle comedy in Star Wars in series form. I don't know if that's what you want to do, but I'm pitching.
I wouldn't say no if the opportunity came up, but thank you. I'm very, very honored. That is great. Yeah, I think for me that any comedy in Star Wars, it's like, which I always think it would work best if you married it with the right characters, and it wasn't parody and it wasn't too broad, but it was comedy that really comes from the difficulties of life. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go to a kind of a weird pick. And this is because I just recently finished watching the Netflix series Dead to Me.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
3 season, great. It's really funny, uh, but it's dealing with guilt and lies and closeness of who you can tell your truth to and who you can't, and what does it do to you when you don't tell the truth, and like all these great deep things. But it's really line to line funny and really human. That is the showrunner creator there is Liz Feldman. So that's the name that jumps to my mind because that's the most recent comedy I watched that I really thought
Yeah.
handled pulling comedy out of depth. And I think that's what would really work for Star Wars.
I love that. I used to be training at the Groundlings with Liz a long time ago, another life.
Wow.
She is spectacular and just an A+ human being to boot. So that'd be great. That's a wonderful choice. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
I'm spacing on showrunners' names, and I
Yeah.
apologize from Falcon and Winter Soldier too. But I also think buddy comedy, like
Mhm.
kind of old school 80s, 90s, midnight run kind of buddy comedy is also a great into comedy
Yeah.
in Star Wars. So and I
Yeah.
thought the buddy comedy element of Falcon and Winter Soldier was like so spot
Mm.
on. Of
That's a
these two
great one.
guys who are connected by their missing best friend, who respect each other, like each other, but are very different and come to like each other a lot. That's a
Yeah.
classic story, and I thought it was really well done.
This is great. I mean, yeah, it's funny. I think I'd like to think I live in this world, but I struggle to the comedy world. I struggle to really find anyone because it's a hard balance. Star Wars and straight up, hey, it's a Star Wars comedy series. You're kind of breaking new ground, and you have to handle it. And I do want some depth and poignancy and character stuff, like you're saying. I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, but like I did like Bo Burnham's his specials are great. He's just, but his the story about the ninth grade or whatever it was, right? Was that what it was? One
Hmm.
kind of. I watched that. I like that kind of stuff. Like I don't know. So if you could, that's the kind of comedy that would work for me in Star Wars. But I like what you're pitching. You could find that with like a buddy comedy. I don't want it to be mid 2000s raunch. I dance with those movies every now and then. I get it, but like it has to be something pretty special. It's a needle to thread, and maybe we'll see it one day.
Yeah, like I think Anchorman is hilarious. I haven't seen it in years, but like to
Mhm.
me, for my taste, totally my taste, like that's not the right tone
Yeah.
for Star Wars comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm a giant Will Forte fan, and Last Man on Earth, which was had Lord Miller behind it. Like, I get it, and we'll never know about the solo stuff. But what stuff I had heard, and again, we're not in those meetings, but just the more you hear, like, I don't know if it would have been the right tone, but we'll never know. We'll never really know. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the mystery of it there. So it could work. It's a certain style. Big fan of comedy. I know you are as well. But it's you got to have the right mix. But it's a great question. Love that
Yeah.
question. Got
Yeah.
me
And
thinking.
here's Jared saving my bacon, saying Malcolm Spellman was showrunner on Falcon and Winter Soldier and is writing the next Captain American movie. That is right. That's right. Which I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
Not to turn it into Marvel Center. And I know almost every Marvel show people have different strong opinions. I really enjoyed Falcon and Winter Soldier. Thanks for that, Jared.
Yeah. 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 All right. That was mine, right? So cool. Yeah, you're up. You're up there, Slugger. You sound like
Ooh,
a
oh,
baseball.
let me slug this one from back at on 416, the before
Mm.
times of our Q&A. This comes from Woozy, which I
Woozy.
can relate to. I haven't
Yeah.
had lunch. I've always thought, says Woozy, it would be interesting to have a story about the fall of the Jedi from the perspective of a sibling of a youngling.
Wow.
What other stories like this would you like to see?
I love that.
Wow.
Um, I
There've
don't
been
I don't
stories. Yeah, we have got some outside perspective of Jedi, right? But it's
know.
often
Mhm.
pretty quick. It's often like
Yeah.
either like, "Hey, they're not all that." They smashed into my apartment and my parents died.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not fun things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like whispers of them. There's that Force Collector YA book that it didn't get a lot of discussion.
No,
There
that's
was
a
too much
shame,
going
right?
on. We didn't end up doing anything on it. But that's in the more the sequel era
Mhm.
of somebody kind of putting together a little bit of the past through finding objects. But somebody who's a real contemporary of the Jedi, a young person who has
Mm.
reason to know them, to understand them, reacting
Right.
to is it good, bad, or otherwise that they're gone. That's fascinating.
Yeah, whether it's a politician that understands that the lines were blurred or are blurring, but is still supportive. The idea, I like the idea of this series being centered around, kind of your ideas of justice for the Jedi, Joseph. Of
Mhm.
it ain't the Jedi, it's the Order. It's not the spirit, it's the rules and the guardrails around it. And someone who understands that, and therefore the fall is heartbreaking. Yeah, but that's Woozy. That's a good one there. It's a deep one.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have any other perspectives that you would specifically like on the Jedi, Ken?
Dexter finally sitting down and hearing that I told him this would happen. Um, I I wouldn't mind also getting the perspective on, say, someone more specifically on the separatist side, but not a Palpatine or Dooku,
Mm.
the Mina Monteri types that you and I have talked about. That, hey, we had some thoughts and ideas. They just didn't know a dark wizard was behind it all. And man, the Jedi sure took that side real quick. Like, just going into that. And it's not a show that'd be about both sides and both sides are equally bad, that type of thing. But just like really getting nuts and bolts and kind of seeing it from that perspective, that they wouldn't be rooting for the Jedi to fail. But when they did, maybe they'd have some thoughts as to why and why didn't you see what we are saying in a better way, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would love more about the Church of the Force. We've gotten a decent amount of Lor San Tekka himself popping up, being on
Mm.
Adventures with Luke in comics and in books. Shadow of the Sith. We've got the rest of some backstory on the San Tekka clan in the High Republic era. Uh, but actual members of Church of the Force, like I feel like a
Mm.
lot of the perspective on the Jedi were like, eh, they always sucked.
Yeah.
They failed us. I don't really believe they're real. I would really love some story time with some people like they were real. They screwed up every once in a while, but oh my god, for the most part, they were pretty great.
Pretty
They were the
good.
light that held back the darkness. Do you see how things are going now? That's
Yeah.
the lack of the presence of the Jedi. I'm
Yeah.
getting into my drink and I'm getting passionate about the Jedi.
Yes, this is what we want. This is what we want. I'm glad you didn't stop for pasta on the way home from Glendale or something like that. Great question, Woozy there. We also got another super chat from our buddy Ken Plum, another small contribution for a bright future. Thank you, sir. Another one coming in here. Oh, did I just pull down the wrong question is the thing that we wanted to get, since you're in your drinks, Joseph, Matthew Stokes wanted to give you a chance to do this. Not Star Wars related, but a quick toast to Joseph,
Mm.
Angelo Badalamenti. Am I saying that right? To Lynch,
Mhm.
Williams, to Lucas. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yeah, really, really true. There's a great write up in Vulture that I saw online that really phrased it in the same way that that Matthew is really celebrating Angelo Badalamenti for really uh, fulfilling Lynch's work.
Mm,
That Lynch had a vision of what all this meant, what it felt like, and Badalamenti was able to really pull it out and make you feel the absolute beauty and purity of the kind characters and the
mm,
just the dread and the horror of the characters who are making bad choices. Lynch is
mm,
complex and weird, but Lynch and Lucas are in lockstep with the interest of in the duality
mm,
of human good and evil and all the little moments in between and the choices that lead that way. And I think in the same way that John Williams gives us the utter hope in beauty of Leia's theme or the Force theme, contrasted with just like the marching terror of the Imperial March.
mm,
Badalamenti has music that goes to those beautiful extremes for Lynch, and yeah, really glad that he lived such a long life and such a profound life and such left so much great music behind. But that one hit me pretty hard.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Uh, I would suggest if anybody isn't familiar, his, you can check out Twin Peaks soundtracks, the first Twin Peaks soundtrack in particular. If you go on wherever you get your music and look for Julie Cruz, particularly her first album Into the Night, which has a lot of the Twin Peaks music and then other music written by Lynch and Badalamenti. Amazing stuff. And also, if you just search Angelo Badalamenti in particular, you can find this great orchestral recording where an orchestra has recorded a bunch of his different music, and you really get to appreciate all the things he did. He's famous for Twin Peaks and Lynch, but he did so much more, and that's a great way to kind of hear a little bit of all of it.
See, well said. Cheers to Angelo Badalamenti. Well said.
Angelo Badalamenti.
Cheers, cheers, cheers indeed. And more proof that we one day need Twin Peaks or Lynch Center.
I would love that. I would love that.
Great. We'll pull that up here, but I do want to get a question here for us.
Yeah.
Going back to a little bit here. Adelardo Fuente checking in. What's the characters from Star Wars you'd like to see on an adventure together? For me, it'd be Rey and Zori Bliss on a quest. Have fun. That might be my answer, Adelardo. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, extremely hard to actually come up with anything better than that. That is really, really great.
That is amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's always the a little bit of the era game, right? We just did this with the cuffing. Now we're on questing, which is like who all is alive? You know, it was played with a little bit in a really fun way in the Forces of Destiny animated shorts. Han and Hera. That would be. I'd love that they're both the pilots, and they had. There's that one episode where Han needs something from Hera, and she jokingly is trying to get him to admit that she's a better pilot or that the Ghost is a better ship. I can't remember which one. But a little bit of that is teased out, and Hera is just such a great character. We hope for more, obviously. I would love to see more of her, and them being in overlapping in time.
Mm-hmm.
It really works on her being like, I'm the one who holds it all together, and Han's the one who's like, I struggle to be there for people. Is a pretty interesting buddy comedy.
I love that idea. That's a great one. I was looking at one that we got to see a little bit of, and we got to see a little bit of Rey and Zori. I love their exchanges in Rise of Skywalker, but I would love to see a full-on adventure. I'd play it as a game. Lando and Shriv, so great together. So great together. We got, even in Shadows of Sith, we got a little bit of taste of Shriv showing back up. So I would love to see that as well. Speaking of like Star Wars comedy, I'll put that out there. But also, I would like to see going a little earlier than The Force Awakens. I don't know how many years. I forget some of the timeline stuff now too. Formation of the First Order, I know after the fall, but like younger, just fresh into the First Order, Kylo Ren and our good old buddy there. Why am I blanking on? I've had too much. I've had too much to drink here tonight already. Donald Gleason's character. Why am I? Wow. Hux. Wow. I need to slow down.
Although young Kylo Ren with just Donald Glover, that'd be fine too.
That'd be funny too. But Hux and Ren, because their interplay, especially Force Awakens, where there's just kind of this pecking order thing, and they're all trying to get the approval of Snoke and all this stuff going on. I would just like to see when like Hux, who's been there kind of from the beginning because his daddy Brendel was part of the formation, and then there's something like, hey, we got a new recruit. Is this guy? And he's already got a cool robe and lightsaber, and like Hux is like, that's mine. Like, I just would love to see that. Young Hux and Ren. I can't believe I drew that blank.
Oh yeah, but Hux really learning about Kylo Ren of like, yeah, his daddy's been building this, and like, okay, well, in my mind, at some point, Snoke comes along as like, nice paramilitary organization you have here. Yeah. I'll just take that. The idea that Hux first has to be like, okay, now we listen to melty guy in golden robe. And, now Goth boy is here, and I'm supposed to bow down to him.
So anyways, I got there eventually, but that's my answer.
You did. I was trying to verify this, but yeah, the actor who plays Shriv, he Dan Donahue. I would love to see more Shriv content.
It's great. Shriv is great.
Yeah.
Again, Battlefront 2, love it. Love the story.
I'm just gonna pull this one up, Ken. Pork.
Well, today it's some Bacardi Gold, because I'm trying to avoid the whiskey problem, but yeah, absolutely.
And David says, I'd love to see Lando and Jenna searching for their respective families. Definitely. I really hope, love that moment in Rise of Skywalker. I really, really hope that does indeed. We follow up somewhere, sometime. It's a great thing about Star Wars. There's so many threads that you can pick up down the road.
Down the road. Jack Cole says Sabine and Din. I like that answer too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely
Mhm.
at some point, and I would love just a real. I mean, this is a possibility. If there is a decision at some point to be like, okay, we are reforming Mandalore. We're going to a new planet, or we're gonna salvage the old planet, and there's just a council of Mandalorians all sharing their Mandalorian opinions on the way things should go. And Sabine would have strong ones. Bo-Katan would have definitely armor. We flashed to Boba Fett, and he'd be like, kind of a Mandalorian. I don't really care about it.
Yeah. Michael Gibbons quotes Irving Kershner as Sabine and Din are going to smooch. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know if Din can open up his heart to anyone.
Nope. Maybe they'll clunk helmets.
Clunk, clunk.
Clunk.
Love that. All right. I'm going to drink some water while you pick a new question.
Well, I just saw this, so I'll share it. Still Bill says, I have feared spoilers in the past, but they didn't pan out. Lego doesn't get inside info ahead of time. Probably good to be cautious about our Ray Sloan excitement. Lego or not, I'm excited about the possibility, but I appreciate Still Bill reminding us to not lay too much money on the Lego bets.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, this one's from Jack Call.
Hey, good transition.
Jack says, with the non-Hoth based Wampa in the Jedi Survivor trailer, the hot Wampa, the dirty Wampa, the hot, dirty Wampa.
Oh, that's good.
What Star Wars creature would you like to see in another environment? Kashyyyk Jawas, anyone? Yeah.
We get the vibe with Pikpa, but Coruscant Ewoks be great. Give me, we got Warwick Davis doing such a wonderful job with Willow. Put Warwick back into the Willow outfit again. We had the brief Rise of Skywalker stuff, and have it like Willow's Wicket's big day out on Coruscant. Just an Ewok going, what? Like, it's like me the first time in New York. Like, what are you talking about? I just love watching that.
I want some Jawas on the water torture moon of Nur, and I want them to have sand crawlers that they've somehow converted it into like a large pleasure yacht. And on one side of Nur is just the horrific torture and tomb of Jedi. And then on the other side, it's, Jawas basically starting a White Lotus hotel. It'd be great.
That's what we're going. This was it's not necessarily directly to the creature question, but in terms of like a character in another environment, I would love, in my head canon, the warrior survives, the Tusken warrior survived the massacre on Tatooine, and kind of finds out what's going on. Boba Fett's got some power. Mandalorian Din, and there's a bigger fight, and that the warrior's like, you're my family now, and I'm back, and I'm going to go with you to Mandalore. I'm going to go with you to fight Gideon. I'm going to be there with you. I want that cross. And a Tusken loose in the galaxy fighting for justice. I'm there for that.
Oh, yeah. No, that's solid. That is very good stuff. I want that Quakian ape lizard who showed up in Resistance to come back. Trying to think of like the worst planet for the Quakian ape lizard to go pounding through. Maybe Luthen's shop on Coruscant.
I love that. Good one.
Can you imagine that if Andor was like saying to Clea, who's there? Is it another Chandrillan? And like, it's a large angry ape monkey guy with.
Just go with us. Would Coruscant Ewoks wear pants? No, but they might feel they want to. They might adapt.
Possibly, but not on the lower half of their body.
Yeah. You want Ewoks to go Winnie the Pooh with a shirt, no pants?
I want them to not understand pants and like have them purchased, and then they stash them around their torso.
Ooh, Brian Ward's got the 5 years running free on Endor. I'd like to see an Ewok riding a father on it.
Oh yeah, boy. I mean that man. Getting close to the you've heard of Elf on the Shelf, like getting the right one. We just want to put an Ewok on everything.
Like I don't to Brian Ward, I don't want to be one of those YouTube Star Wars hosts that just tweets out Brian do a Photoshop, but an Ewok on a father is a Photoshop I can get behind.
Tauntaun on a bantha. Let's just keep going.
It's just going on. Joseph, I'm going to go back to my radio days here. We're going to do sports and weather because we were about 100 live viewers and some people I see in chat, including our very own Trey T, asking, hey, did I miss the announcement? So let's remix it. Sports and weather coming your way right now. Yes, we did. We announced a new YouTube-only show that is based on a fun kind of segment we used to do on Jedi Alliance, both Joseph and I. A fun little show, and Joseph's going to be taking us through the wild world of figure fights here on YouTube.
That is right. So this is gonna be YouTube exclusive. It is going to premiere in February. It's gonna be every other week to start. It's gonna be me, Ken, some guests. We are gonna pick 2 action figures, maybe 2 packs. We'll see if we build to the cinema scenes. Maybe vehicles. We might go crazy, but we're gonna start with 2 figures, and we are gonna ask ourselves the important question: who would win in a fight? Not the characters, but the action figures. We are living in a world where Count Dooku can be defeated by Aunt Beru, and very well might be, depending on the figure, the accessories.
That's a world I'm happy to live in, especially after Kenobi.
Yes.
Oh, I love that, Trey T. There you go, Trey T says. Awesome. There you go. All right. And we got a question here. Sorry, Joseph, we're going to jump the line here a second here. Because I think we got someone watching from Germany trying to say hello before they have to go to bed. Browo's 87. Do you think of any 2 same sure names in Star Wars other than Ben? Greetings from Rostock, Germany. I hope I'm saying that right. So yeah, think of any 2 kind of common names in Star Wars that are shared.
We got different spellings, but Ray Sloan and Ray Skywalker.
Love that.
We have a Ray. For last names, we got the double Voss of Quinlan Voss and Dryden Voss.
Right. I was going to say one of the Akbars, but then I realized that's his son. And then I was almost going to blurt out, well, Kira, and then that other Kira actually never happened. It's Ray. Yeah. Well, surname, he says. Oh, well, yeah. No, I know what surname is. I thought he said. I read that wrong. Then yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Voss and Voss, that works as well. Antilles, Antilles is one that goes around a lot. Got a couple Antilles going around there.
Yeah, and I think Lucas even made a deal with that when he had the the Antilles who might be up for Chancellor. Being like, no, and it doesn't have to be Wedge's granddad. Calm down.
And then I like Trey's answer. The Tubes brothers. Tubes, my man. He's my man.
Yeah. There's Ramus Antilles.
Ramus Antilles. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, look, the only thing that guy has to claim for unique is his muss. He's got Ray and Antilles. Common names.
Yeah.
Claim to your muss.
There, I just wanted to get that one there because I saw it. So I jumped the line, I think. But Joseph, what do you got?
Yeah, let me jump back here. We were doing so well with our stars, and it's all falling apart.
But even we got so many great questions. You and I have starred a lot, so there it becomes confusing on the star side.
But we have this one from Chris Jovanovic. Apologies if I got that name right, but it was fun to say. Chris Jovanovic. Hey, Ken and Joseph. I'm just about to finish Path of Deceit, and I've loved every moment of it. What are your thoughts on Phase 2 of High Republic so far? Thanks, and may the Force be with you. My very honest thought on Phase 2 is, can you please slow down Star Wars books? Which I don't actually want them to do. I want them to, of course, come out and have everybody enjoy them. I haven't been able to read them. We made a lot of jokes about it, but it really did take us that long to read Padawan. Over the last 6 weeks, Ken and I had 2 different dates where, like, next week we're doing Padawan. We're both like, yep. And then we would text each other and like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. It's just with, life and in the holidays. So I haven't started Phase 2 yet. I'm really excited to. And on the positive side, I have Path of Deceit and Convergence. in a way, I'm actually excited to have 2 because I can just plow through both of them and,
Mm.
obviously treat them as separate books and separate ideas, but it will be fun to just stay in the High Republic world for a little longer.
So today I told at the top of the show, some people probably missed it. Had this electrician, great guy, but coming around and he kind of, I'm sitting there in the living room, kind of just waiting for him to finish because we had to get to this live show. And I sat down, and on my coffee table in front of my couch were the 2 High Republic Phase 2 books we need to read. And I picked A Path of Deceit up, and I wish I had a book around to do it, but on my iPad, and I held it like this, and I just went around. And I was like, I'm not ready. I just put it aside. I can't wait to dive into High Republic 2, both the comics, everything going on. I know the Battle of Jeddah is out now. I cannot wait. I almost hate to say it. I'm at the point where I'm like you said, I almost want them to pump the brake on Star Wars books. I can't catch up anymore, and it's disappointing. And it's not just as a Star Wars podcaster, as a Star Wars fan. It's just kind of hard right now for a lot of various reasons. Some simple, some good, some work going on. I was out late doing a special corporate gig with Mark Ellis last night. That's 5 hours. I can't read a Star Wars book on a Thursday. So that's my own desire. But I'm like you. I'm glad the books are coming out. I'm glad people are enjoying it. Cannot wait to start Phase 2.
And Tim Van Newland says Phase 2 is really good so far. Quest for the Hidden City is also very fun. Is that one out? I would assume so. So yeah, just gotta double check everything. Excellent. And Chris Jovanovic says perfect pronunciation of my last name. Thanks for the answers. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for everyone I haven't seen as much social media chatter about Phase 2. I would imagine that's because a lot of confusion and crisis going on various social media, and it's different because it's a new phase rather than the introduction of this brand new thing. So I'm really excited to hear that people are enjoying it, and it makes me more excited to dive in.
Yeah. The main topic on Twitter these days is Twitter, so I'm not seeing a lot of anything else as it should be. And Hive is back up. Don't forget to follow ForceCenter on Hive, and Joseph, Jennifer, and myself on Hive as well. I haven't really posted on Hive yet, but maybe there.
Wow. Tim Van Newland says, yes, that is the Young Reader High Republic from Phase 2. I didn't realize that one was out. That's great. So we'll have a full complement, Ken. We'll be able to read all 3 in one go.
Yeah. And look, I cannot speak a high enough praise for High Republic. I still think it's just amazing that they pull this off. The planning, the different, all the wings of publishing checking in, and the characters. You talked earlier about new characters and new times and Star Wars. That Light of the Jedi first book, it's still my favorite of the new canon Star Wars books, and that includes Leia, Princess Alderaan, and Lost Stars, and all the classics. I love all of them, but man, the Light of Jedi just blew me away. So we love High Republic.
Yeah, Reith Silas, Vernestra Rowe, Elzar Mann, endless characters that I think about, and I think about their relationship to other parts of Star Wars, and yeah, I'm real excited.
Love it. Great question there. We'll catch up here. Some questions. First, do a couple shout outs to Super Chats. Again, Super Chats not necessary to get you in the conversation. We're looking at all the questions, but we appreciate, helps keep the show going. Jeffrey Doyle, he's still using that shoot name, huh? Adam, thank you for the support. And my buddy Chris Kiefer, the best librarian in Southern California, is late to the party. No question for you. Just wishing you and all the ForceCenter family a happy holiday. We appreciate that support.
Thank you.
There. Chris will be having lunch again soon, I am sure. Anakin Crespin checks in. Joseph says, hey guys, the lasers on Luthen's ship in Andor remind me of the prototype B-Wing that Hera flew in Rebels for one episode. That XD is a tongue out, right? That's the emoji kind of there for that. Do you think Quarry
it means cuffing, Ken?
It's cuffing. You and I are like that. We learned our word of the day. We're just going to use it in every conversation we get. Do you think Quarry could have given Luthen his cool ship upgrades? Hey, that's a Star Wars canon question. And I'll start here. We always kind of joke, and we maybe poke a little at Tony Gilroy. Gilroy would be like, I don't know who that is. I've watched Rebels or understood, but he's very open to the team and the people around him going, hey, wouldn't this work? Or, hey, this could be the answer. Someone like Pablo Hidalgo's the Lord Advisor be like, hey, it'd be awesome this. And we know Pablo loved working on Rebels and loved that show and loved that world. So I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in some book, some entry on some information coffee table book would say that, hey, Luthen got this from someone we know, and Quarry's a great answer.
Yeah, no, I watched that episode relatively recently, and there's just something about Quarry. There are lots of characters that we meet in the books and in the animated shows who sometimes I feel like this is a fun character, but they're there for that story and they serve that purpose. And then for me, there's those characters who'd be like, this character could pop up a lot. And I really agree. I felt that way about Quarry. He's a great, kind of a perfect Force Center character for our taste, Ken, of gruff, grumpy fish guy with a heart of gold and a ship full of weapons. Perfect, beautiful. And that B-Wing story is great.
Him and Luthen having a conversation would be great. I need the wings there. Lasers, come on. I got you covered.
Yeah, there's that infamous scene from The Wire where McNulty and Bunk figure out exactly what happened at a murder scene while exchanging only the F word. And I feel like Luthen could tell Quarry exactly how to weaponize his ship with only grunts.
I love that. I think it's season 1, maybe season 2 of Rescue Me, a show I'm a fan of. Dennis Leary's character and his father, Charles Durning, plays him. They communicate only through like kind of grunts, but also the weather and just life, and just avoid any serious conversation, but communicate everything, which is so realistic. So yes, Luthen and anyone could have that.
I want to shout out a couple of just comments of follow up on our book discussion. It says, can't read everything, so I've been doing themes. This year was Leia and Han, so I read Last Shot and Leia, Princess Valdron, then The Princess and the Scoundrel. That's just fascinating, so I wanted to share it. But also, like, we'll see. We would love to not have a Padawan event happen again in either read the book or don't. But if we end up behind again, that's a really appealing way for me to approach it, because that's why I struggle with staying up with the books, is like I want to sink all the way into it and staying in that mood, staying in that timeline, staying in these characters' heads. That's a really cool idea.
I love that. No, I love that. Yeah, and we never want to sound like we're complaining. We're blessed to be here at Force Center, and we're gonna get to a great super chat here. All of your super chats to support, but we're gonna highlight a special one right now. But we're so grateful. But yeah, we because we love y'all. We put a lot of work into those book reviews, and like my notes are extensive. Joseph notes are college level on the books, and that takes a lot out. You can't just run through them fast, because we want to give the books the time and give the authors the respect, the characters the respect. So that's why we're never complaining about the Padawan thing. Though became a fun running joke. That was one of the great runners we've had in Force Center history.
It was just true. Yeah. Ken, real quick, there's one other breaking news from the comments that I want to share. Still Bill says, yay, my pizza is here. And as somebody who wants their pizza to be here, man, I'm enjoying pizza vicariously through Still Bill right now.
We don't do regular pizza in this house. There's a wonderful vegan pizza spot we get here in LA, but I'll be honest, it's a little pricey. So I'm going to try to convince Grace that we order some Thai food during the broadcast. So I'll have some Thai food right when we get off air.
Nice.
All right. Look at this. Matthew Stokes has this comment. It's 18,000 plus minutes on Spotify. It's not generous. It's good value for my money. What he's saying is we want to highlight this. Matthew, thank you for the support. Quoting Die Hard, which some people think is a holiday picture. Ho, ho, ho. Now I have a super chat. Thank you all. 3 here. ForceCenter, Ken, Joseph, Jan, happy Christmas to all of you. That's very generous. We appreciate
very
all
kind.
Whether your support is watching, liking, sharing the broadcast, chat, stickers, any of those things, Patreon support. It means a lot. It means a lot. Joseph and I and Jennifer are now heading into our 8th year, our 9th broadcast year, if you kind of look at the seasons. That's crazy. That's crazy to think. And we always say, but we mean it. We're only here because of all of you. And even on those days when we don't want to read a new Star Wars book, we're happy to do it because we feel blessed to have this community behind us.
Absolutely. Very generous and very, very appreciated. I love this comment because we're Bond fans here as well. Jet Islander said, Luthen's laser wings are a perfect James Bond Q gadget, perfect for an extremely specific situation. And I assume laser wings, it does say laser wigs. We all make typos. I assume that's a typo. No big deal. But sometimes as we learned in improv, sometimes a mistake is what we call a gift. And Luthen's laser wigs,
So
that would be amazing, right? Like somebody's like, I know the real Luthen, and pulls his wig off, and lasers explode out of it. So great.
it's not the Bacardi Gold talking. I saw that one pop out of the corner of my eye, and I took it as it was written. Laser wigs. I thought, yeah, Luthen's probably got laser wigs. That makes sense to me.
I'm sitting here in shock that Roger Moore never had a laser wig. He should have.
There you go. There you go. Love that. Love that. You guys are all wonderful here. I think, is it back to you on our ping pong of questions? I think so. Yeah. Let me pull this one down here from Anakin. Cool. Anything jump to mind for you, sir?
Yeah, I'm going to our star. Oh, no. Hey, that one we already did. Okay. Here we go. This comes to us from Blake Davison. Blake says, hey, ForceCenter, so happy to finally catch a live stream live. What would you say is your moment of Star Wars horror when Star Wars is truly scary? Couple that jump out to me they're both Palpatine.
Right.
Is the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. We've talked about it. We did that scene by scene breakdown of Kylo going down there. Kylo is so angry, so confident, so eager to eliminate any threat to his power, like the crawl says. And I just love that screechy lightning, that sort of mad scientist meets bizarre. How is he still alive through the unnatural powers of the Force, the magic and the mad scientist all at the same time? There's something like just truly disturbing about that to me. The other Palpatine moment is it's after Anakin has made his choice in Revenge of the Sith and taken out helped Palpatine take out Mace. And man, Ben Burt went to all of his audio equipment and turned every knob to super disturbing, right? Like he always does a great job with those weird like animal growls in the back of Sheev's throat, and Ian McDermott plays you will be a powerful Sith. It's such a great audio way to show you the truth of who this guy is. He was talking a good talk at the nice, Mon Calamari ballet. He was talking a good talk at Squid Lake. But here's the truth.
I'm glad. I love those answers, and I don't want to keep telling the same story over again. But the transformation of Palpatine with the lightning coming back on in Revenge of the Sith. I was at the Cinerama Dome at the Acolyte, rest in peace. Hopefully something else comes in place. And hearing two 9-year-olds behind me and my friend and roommate at the time, Joel, just cry and scream from their gut over that scene terrified them. They're probably out there now in their early 20s going, I still kind of can't watch it because it got them. That's horror for me. But I love one of the little nuanced things about McDermott at the moment. You and I and so many others do the henceforth and I've died before. But he has just the way his like head is tilted up and his mouth's kind of like it's freaky stuff, man. And it's just it's Star Wars horror, man. I love that. Great question.
Yeah. There's some great stuff in the animated shows. I love all the Geonosian brainworms. That stuff is legitimate in terror. Being trapped down in those catacombs, and they won't stop coming, and the screechy voice. Great stuff.
That's a great pull. That's a great Clone Wars episode arc there in those episodes. For me, I always talk about how the Rancor scared me as a kid and everything. Yeah, but one of the reasons is like you watch Ulu goes down there. That's unsettling. And then when Luke and the Gamorrean Guard go down there, and you got the Gamorrean Guard being slurped up like a noodle, which George in that famous scene in the editing room is like, have it just go, and they're all laughing. But like I was a kid, I was just terrified. That's horror on another level, monster horror. Because I remember it being at like a slumber party, and the Blob, the classic horror, the Blob thing, kids at a lake making out, and then the Blob gets out. Like I was shown that at like 7 or 8, and I thought that was a documentary. Like I was like that. I can't go to the lake. Can't go to Lake Lopez in my hometown because that's going to happen to me. So that kind of stuff freaked me out as a kid. It wasn't just the Rancor and the size. It was he ate the Gamorrean guard.
He
Freaked me out.
ate them whole. Yeah. Lauren Romo says Rebels had some great horror aspects for me.
Yeah.
Today I was just watching the season 4 episode Crawler Commanders where there's the lizard mining guild worker who keeps attacking them. And it's one of those episodes where like the whole episode isn't structured as a horror, but when Ezra is going down there to try to find him and you see him like skittering under the bridge and he's up in the shadows and kind of, bending like the girl from The Exorcist.
Yeah.
I was really thinking about that today. In fact, like that's so often what happens with Star Wars. Like sometimes they'll lean in and like, okay, we're in a specific, scary place, like Exegol or like Dathomir, so the horror vibe is there. But then often it's just like it's a part, like that. I love the ice spiders in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's out of John Carpenter's The Thing,
Holy. And that look, my fiance has a spider phobia on a level you can't comprehend. And that episode was under the covers. She couldn't watch it. I had to tell her when it was over. Type of moment. Thank God, Trapper Wolf and Carson Teva show up to save the day because that was one. That was one.
Yeah.
I want to highlight, and this is I know something that's big for you, but also my pal Mark Riley, who's a horror fan and a horror expert guy. Like Vader in the hallway in Rogue One is its own kind of horror, and it's shot like the big monster at the end of the hallway. And I've always said that one of my favorite little beats is after the big one, when he kind of gets through and the plans are taken through, there's that one shot in the well-lit blockade runner white hallway that's just kind of shot up, and it's so real. The other one's this wonderful piece of cinema. The other one is like, oh gosh, that's actually a cyborg monster with a blade cutting people down. And he is truly a monster at that moment. I think that counts as Star Wars horror for me.
It does. I think a lot of the Star Wars horror I think about is sort of moody. It is, based in a little bit older genre horror from 30s, 40s, 50s. But the Rogue One hallway scene with Vader, I think, is like updated to contemporary with Star Wars when Star Wars first came out of 70s. To me, it's slasher horror. I wouldn't have the time to do this, but I'd have a lot of fun. There's some scenes in the new Halloween films that are just really, Michael steps out and there are, 16 firefighters and he just chews through them the way Vader chews through that hallway. And you could do a scene by scene,
Right.
shot by shot of Vader and Michael Myers.
Love that. Great question.
Yeah. I believe we're on to yours, right?
Yeah. Here's one I think got addressed in chat, but we started and we want to, spread the love around. Brian Inglis asks this question: does anyone know where Star Wars News Net podcast went? Do they have a new channel? Yeah, so Star Wars News Net still going strong, but the Resistance broadcast crew, TRB, they've moved to their own channel. It seems like just a business split, and all things are good. I don't know the whole story there, but we love John and Lacey and James. They do great work, and they're covering a lot of things outside of Star Wars too, but Star Wars remains their focus. So yeah, give them a subscription hit if you want to over on the Resistance broadcast. And we still, when I pull the news for the news show on Tuesday, Star Wars News Net is always one of the most, the first places I go. And there's a lot of weird places to get your Star Wars news. Check your sources, check who's behind a lot of the websites. But I always go to Star Wars News Net, and shout out to the Resistance broadcast. And they're doing great work over there on their new YouTube channel. So want to address that.
Excellent.
There we go. All right. Dylan Cicero asked this one: which characters would you include in a Star Wars version of A Christmas Carol?
And accidentally threw up some of the great chat that was going on. It was great. We had both chat about scary moments of Star Wars and who would end up in A Christmas Carol at the same time. It was one of those times like, okay, is this answer about the Christmas Carol or about horror?
I'm like, but sorry, Brian Ward has a great horror one. Going back to that, Star Wars horror is any video YouTube suggests from channels I don't follow. I feel that one too.
I also want to highlight very quickly before we move on from horror that a bunch of people said Abeloth was scary in the audiobooks. Abeloth. So I'll look into Abeloth. Thanks, everybody.
There you go. Love that. You have to start with the big one, right? Scrooge has to be Scrooge, right?
Yeah. Who do you?
Well, I I was gonna. Palpatine's a great answer, but I'm not. I don't want Palpatine to have redemption. There's another timeline in my head where Dooku gets some redemption and turns away from his path. Maybe Yaddle could be the ghost of Christmas present.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I love that. That's great. I can't. There are better answers, but my mind just gets stuck on Sheev because he is the.
Yeah, that's the one, right?
the Scrooge. It seems kind of light. Like he's mean. He doesn't pay well. He's an evil wizard, murders people constantly, and likes it. I did a long time ago, and other people have done this bit, but I did it as a kind of a stand-up comedy storytelling bit of like the day after Christmas Carol, where Scrooge has truly turned the page, right? And everybody has convinced him that, well, he says Christmas is going to live in my heart all year round. And, the months go on, and like by March, nobody else has that Christmas feeling, and he's still trying to like be happy and whoop it up, and everybody's grumpy with him, and it breaks him. So I would love to see a Star Wars Christmas Carol where Sheev just plays the ghosts, and for one day, just for Life Day, he's like, the dark side was wrong. I'm gonna give some money to those Ewoks. I'll rebuild their forests. And then the very next day, he's like, suckers.
Sucker.
Not the spirit of Christmas Carol.
Suckers. Henceforth. How about this?
I shall call you all suckers.
Star Wars Christmas Carol. Star Wars A Christmas Carol, but only with Ewoks and only in Ewok language. And Chief Chirpa's like the Scrooge. But that's all we get. All we get. And Wicket like Tiny Tim. Let's do all that.
After all the jokes about the long sections of the holiday special where it's just the Wookiees roaring, you're talking about an actual 90 minutes of Ewoks jabbering in Ewokese.
The only humanoid I want in the film is David Johansen, Buster Poindexter from Scrooged, as the cab driver. I want him, and he's the only humanoid in it.
Oh yeah. People in the comment said Grumpy Han. That is absolutely great. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who. I mean, Kylo would be really, really funny and charming because I think Ben was closer to being, being able to come back from the old dark side. In some ways, hey, a visit from his mom's very soul, and then the memory of his dad. He did have a little bit of a Christmas Carol, but Kylo's anger is believable, painful, and has an element of humor to it. That Last Jedi moment when Luke's like, I'm sorry, and he's like, I'll bet you are. There's an element of comedy to it. It doesn't undercut the drama at all to me, but seeing Kylo get real upset about these ghosts, and he'd be shirtless every time he's visited, right?
Oh, absolutely. I just I think it's new, but sometimes the way like TikTok or Instagram Reels work, like you'll see something like I'll see one of your unboxing videos from 4 months ago on TikTok or something like that. Our very own Jennifer Landa just did one where she's a tailor coming to measure Kylo Ren and he's shirtless. Have you seen this one yet?
Comedy gold. It's really, really good. It just showed up for me too, so I'll have to ask Jennifer if she just made it or if she reposted it from back in the day because of the 5th anniversary of Last Jedi. But she always does great stuff. That was next level.
She's so great, such a great performer. Yeah, check that one out there. There you go. Great question from Dylan there. Love that.
Excellent. I'm going to pull this one up here from Bill Rudd, who gave us a very fun donation there. We always appreciate anything. We appreciate the Star Wars nods of 1138. Bill Rudd says, Spotify says, I've listened to you all for 12,870 minutes in 2022. Wow. And 2021 was similar. So I finally decided to kick on the hyperdrive and sign up for Patreon. Cheers to more YouTubes in 2023. Thank you very much, Bill, for the kind words and the generosity. And we're excited for more YouTube stuff soon.
Absolutely. And that's how you can follow Jen on TikTok, right? Jen Landa 1138.
Yeah.
Love that there. Follow up to a previous super chat. Going to highlight Jeffrey Doyle, Kayfabe Ked. So this is Jeffrey Doyle. It's not urban fantasy author outlaw Adam Knight. You don't want to look up that name to get a great book of a series of books there. All right. Called Overdrive. All right, the Overdrive series. Thank you for that support, Jeffrey. There. Spent my day listening to the Padawan review, and I'm listening on my way to the other job. There we go. Wrestlers and kayfabe. And Bill Rudd coming back with this is solely for Luthen's laser wigs.
Thank you. Luthen's laser wigs for the win.
Love that there. Love that. All right. So far as in terms of actual questions here, and there's some from the live chat as well. And some great Grogu could be a Tiny Tim to Kylo Scrooge, says Amaranth. Love that.
Oh yeah. Grogu should be everybody's Tiny Tim. Oh man.
There you go. Michael Gibbons has this technical question for us, Joseph. Is there a podcast platform that helps you guys out the most? You appreciate us listen. In terms of podcasts, no, it's wherever you get your podcasts. We are working with Acast, which has been a wonderful company. The move to Acast was very good for us. And we also, by the way, recommend Anchor for anyone looking to start a podcast. They were great to us as well. But yeah, wherever you listen to podcasts, listen to them. And some of you maybe listen to the podcast on YouTube only. That's totally fine too. Well, it's not just a matter of what helps us. It's what helps you. We're going to go strong. We want to be big on all of them. We sometimes crack the top 200 on TV film, on the Apple side, on the podcast side, which we're an independent podcast. That means a lot to us. So wherever you guys choose to listen to your podcast is where we can be listened to or heard.
Yeah, I think I think we don't talk about it as much, but I think that rating and reviewing on iTunes still makes it, or not iTunes, whatever. I just podcasts, Apple Podcasts, right?
In fact, that's a great point. We've been asking, and Joseph to learn. I think you guys know, if you've listened a long time, you know Joseph, Jennifer, and I. But Joseph and I come from a generation. Joseph comes from Minnesota, which has historically, Joseph, am I wrong? The cultural thing of just don't ask for help, just do it. Just do it. And I have some self-loathing depression issues where I just assume no one's going to like me anyway, so why try? We've been asking directly for you to sub on the YouTube channel because we really want to grow. We hadn't put a lot of energy into YouTube to the last year, which was because of Acast. But yeah, we are looking for big things, and we just really appreciate all of you. But the Apple podcast reviews are at 970, I think. 970. Wow. So we'd love to get to 1,000 as well. That helps push us up the charts as well. So there you go. Yeah, I asked. I'm even getting embarrassed. I'm stumbling. I feel bad.
You need more whiskey.
Thank you, Ethan. Ethan Truman says we like you, Ken. I started a stand-up show. Our friend Jeff May has a stand-up show in a toy store. And I started it by just sitting down with the audience, and I said, I need to know right now if y'all like me, because if not, I'll leave. And I had a great time. So there you go.
That is great. That I did that show many years ago, and man, it's a pleasure to perform stand-up in front of a wall of action figures.
It's amazing. Shout out to our friend Jeff May. All right, so I think that was my question. I'll put this one up here, Joseph, so you can choose a question. Bill Rudd comes back and says, I say, go picture for the Ewok Life Day Carol. I think we'll pitch that one. We'll get to that one.
We have this question from a member of our community that we know is Oscar F. Forecast Esquire. Oscar Film Forecast. Oscar says, inspired by how incredible she was in the Wednesday show and having recently had Andy Serkis back in a different Star Wars role, do you think Gwendolyn Christie could return in a different role? I hope so. And I'm really excited to watch Wednesday. I like the horror. I like the spooky. I like the gothy. I'm really excited about that. People have enjoyed that. So I'm super excited to watch it. I think I knew at some point that Gwendolyn Christie was in it, but I forgot. So this is not only question, but exciting news to me, Ken, that Gwendolyn Christie is in Wednesday.
Well, if we're talking about Wednesday, at least I have to probably do this, right? Like, how do I do the dance? Like, I got to do the dance.
This is what she does. That like that. Exactly. Nailed it. I'm doing it with my feet. You can't see.
A dance with my hands. All right. I have Grace has just started watching Wednesday because she is Wednesday Adams, so she's watching that. But she'll let you know she's a Christina Ricci Wednesday, but she's really enjoying the new show. And Gwendolyn Christie's in it. And me and Grace just absolutely love Gwendolyn Christie, as you do as well, Joseph. This is great. Yeah, Circus kind of, it's not the first time a character, people have, as we all, even Tim Carlo was in Force Awakens, the actor there, James McCarlo. I totally love this. And here's my wild thought. One day, I swear one day, we're going to need to get a High Republic live action. I put Gwendolyn Christie in the role of Avar Kriss. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
That is controversial, as many of us picture Avar is Jodie Whittaker. Recently the 13th Doctor,
and I'd be good with that too. That'd be a great one.
It's Jodie's acting chops, and I think the 13th Doctor's character, it's not 1-to-1, but it definitely has some elements that are Avar Kriss like. But it's also just some of that cover art is like, hey, did you like that great rogue artist who's just like, I just drew Thrawn as Piers Brosnan. I didn't mean anything. I just did it. I feel like some of the artists who did Avar Kriss just made her look a lot like Jodie Whittaker. But right. I'd be happy. I think my first choice, if we had a Gwendolyn Christie poll, is I would really love some more Phasma storytelling. I really think that particularly what was the threads of what's there in the films are great. What was created in the Phasma novel was phenomenal, of somebody who is not really a true believer in anything but her own power and sort of survival of the fittest and find a way. And you don't need to read the book to know that. There could be a Phasma Disney Plus series where she got sort of rejected, thrown under the bus by the First Order. So she's on to her own thing. Yeah. And what is that? And where is that? Oh, man, I would love that. That would be my first choice.
That's a great, you and I are always careful about what we pitch live on shows. But you just pitched something really good about Phasma going for First Order. Nuts to that. I got to go find something else. And I want Phasma, that to be the first line.
Nuts to that. Yeah.
Nuts to that.
Coming soon to Disney Plus. Nuts to that.
Yeah.
But if not, the fact that we've only seen her eye, I think, absolutely. If there's a right role for her to be recast in something, just more Gwendolyn Christie in Star Wars.
Yeah, and she's phenomenal, just phenomenal. Born to play Brienne of Tarth, like literally for years, people have been telling her, and she's been saying, "This is for me," and she gets it, and just does amazing things. And what is she? Sandman, right? She's also in Sandman, right?
Yes, she is. She is, and she is the devil, and she's great. Yeah, and and Jodie Whittaker, as Ethan Truman says, is great in Broadchurch too. Yes, she is.
Oh, wonderful. All right, we got this question here from our pal Anakin Crespin. Star Wars Jedi Survivor looks great. Did you guys happen to notice what looks like Marin standing next to Seer Jenda in the trailer? Her outfit is mysterious AF. And I know what that means. And looks to be hiding her face. I did not. In fact, I was kind of wondering where Marin was, but I got to admit, only took a couple passes at the trailer for ForceCenter News on Tuesday, so it looks like I missed that. What about you, sir?
Yeah, I believe it was our friend Molly Damon who tweeted out, where is Marin? Is she safe? Is she all right? I'm sure many people tweeted that. That's what was in my heart. Marin's such a great character.
Yeah.
And just taking her first steps as a character, and want to see more. So yeah, I missed that. I really, I kind of feel like they're holding back on some of the story. There's that book coming out, but also I'm sure there'll be more trailers for the game itself. I think it was kind of answering the question that, yes, he is separated from the gang by having Seer Jenda in it. And I think I think that just starting like, yep, he goes and he visits Sarah, but where is the gang? Where is everybody? I think it's kind of bringing up, encouraging us to ask that question of where are all our other faves. But Grease, right?
Grease. It's great. Yeah, Marin's such a great character. I think there's still a lot of untapped potential with just Night Sisters as a storyline, whether it's going back and Talzin, all the stuff, her and Palpatine in the early days, the Maul, I don't know, going forward and recovering from the trauma as Marin is, fascinating stuff. So I miss it. I'm going to go back. I'm going to watch the trailer tonight after I have Thai food, or maybe while if I have
yeah Yeah, there's so much with the Night Sisters, and I know that a lot of us had thought like, who knows? Maybe Acolyte could be dealing with that, and I still hold out some hope. We know that the main characters are a former Padawan reuniting with her master, their master. So I'm very curious to see if Night Sisters could still play into that.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you, Anakin, for that question and the support there. We are entering the final act of the show here tonight. We don't want to sit here hanging out drinking all night long, though I could. But any other questions pop to mind, Joseph, and also out there, if you have any specific questions, get them in now so we can get them onto the show.
Yeah.
LLM Productions, been listening for years. Thrilled to see you guys on YouTube. Yeah.
And Anakin adds, I want to see a Night Sister movie about Daka and Talazin and riding rancors through the forest in Fen.
Love
that sounds like a great log line to me.
And we were talking about horror earlier. We've mentioned on the podcast a lot, but Mother Talzin's a wonderful kind of a villainous horror character as well.
Yeah. Oh, here's one last question here. Like we said, get them in. We're gonna wrap up here in a few. Jed Islander says, if your Christmas tree is over 40% Star Wars ornaments, is it a real Star Wars tree, or do I need to go a full 100%?
No, you don't need to.
No, you can do whatever you want. Hallmark, right? Hallmark, that's the place.
Yes.
Put out a bunch of ornaments that this year's like, well, I need that one. Well, I need that one. I need that one. And I didn't get any of them because of the amount of action figures, and because our small little tree is already weighed down with many ornaments, and I would say 25% Star Wars right now.
That's fair. We don't have a tree in the house. That's when you're engaged to a goth. Halloween is the month, not so much Christmas and these December holidays. But in the past, I've never really had Star Wars ornaments. So I think you're in a good spot, Jedi Islander. I think you gotta have pictures of you as a kid, right? On the top. Me and my sister were the angels on the top of the tree, our little cherub faces there. So you got to spread the ball around. But I think if you 40% is a good number. My thing, I used to love as a kid, I would take my G.I. Joe figures, Joseph, and the tree was a secret base in a giant forest. And I'd every year have a big giant battle. It was like an annual battle. So my Christmas tree needs to have G.I. Joe figures on it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Amaranth says that was a great Obsessed. My wife and I, our most recent episode of my other podcast, Obsessed, we talked a lot about holiday decorations and finding that balance. Because for me, growing up, I didn't have pop culture stuff around. I think it was still kind of in an era where it's like, that's fine for toys for children. Right. But you wouldn't the trees for like drums and angels and stuff. You don't put
Santa Claus.
You don't put your, what is it called? A wookie? You don't put that on the tree. Get out of here, you weirdo. So for me, it's so special to have all the pop culture friends on the tree that I'm in risk of putting everything being on there. And I gotta leave some room for some squirrels and some nutcrackers and all sorts of other stuff too.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Great stuff there. We got this question from Gaz Nottingham. You see that one, Joseph? I think we got started. We both started. We haven't really seen a canon rivalry between Boba Fett and Han in canon. Could Boba Fett have known that Han killed the person who killed Aurra Singh? And would Boba have killed Beckett or thanked him? Oh, it's great. Yeah, no, this is one. I do like this question in the sense of I've always grown up thinking Han and Boba Fett, well, they don't like each other. And yeah, we haven't seen that explored as much. So I think it exists. It's a story to tell. But I like the connecting of the dots here. And yeah, there's some kind of move around here. So this is why I still think, make Solo 2 happen. Sure. I love that idea. We got a lot of other stories in that era. But I even go to, just give me some kind of, Beckett and Val a few years prior and move them into the galaxy. And there you can run into a lot of problems. And this would be before Han, but maybe you get a little bit more information of Aurra Singh, Boba Fett, what happened and how that maybe could down the line tie into Beckett into Han. I could go with that.
I love that. Beckett and Val on Vandor. It's snowy. They're sitting around a campfire. They say nice things and they kiss. Are they cuffing? Did they cuff?
It's a cuff.
Right there in front of us. I think they cuffed right on screen.
That's
amazing. It's a cuffing. Yeah, I love this. Oh man. I know there are ups and downs with the Boba Fett show for lots of people, but there's so much about it that I really enjoyed. But one element I would love to see is, I think there's stuff in Legends. I know Ken and I are of the era where I don't remember where I heard it. It was whispered on the wind that Han and Boba were old rivals, and that there's a million stories to hear. It's just something we grew up with. I kind of feel like, to Gaz's great question, I don't feel like Boba has any particular love for Aura Singh. Aura kind of stepped into a parent role, but was not a good parent at all. And other people had to come along and go, Boba going, you could have a little bit of honor. You don't have to be like Aura. Your dad had honor. So I think maybe Boba and Aura fought over jobs. I think if anything, the funny thing would be to me, like, I love the idea that Han and Boba have clashed, and when and Han, with his luck and ingenuity and his charm, just manages to squeak out of it when they have any sort of conflict. And when Han tells the story at the bar, Boba Fett's obsessed with him. They're rivals, but Han's always getting away. And from Boba Fett's perspective, like, this guy's nothing. I don't consider him that big a deal. He's just slippery. He's got dumb tricks up his sleeve. I don't think he's a major threat. So then, in my mind, then Han could always be bringing that up as like, I'm the guy who took out the lady who trained you. Clearly, I'm better than you. And Boba Fett just having no time for that.
Yeah. As a follow-up to this, and you just kind of touched upon it, Joseph, with the whispered on the wind thing. Ethan Truman says, where does the Han-Boba rivalry come from? It's just movies. Boba's just a guy hired to get a bounty. And I think that's factual from a certain point of view. But it speaks to the 80s and growing up with Star Wars in a different time, pre-internet, and it's not necessarily unique to our generation, Joseph, at all. But and when you have Legends comes along post Heir to the Empire and everything, so I'm not super familiar with all the stories that might have pitted Boba Fett against each other, but growing up on the playgrounds, growing up in the backyard playing with their toys, it just was natural. Return of the Jedi, it just seemed like this rivalry ended. We didn't consider what Ethan is saying, which I would look at and say, hey, yeah, that's probably correct from a certain point of view. That who knows what happened before, but Boba Fett certainly knows how to kind of combat Han in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, it was just one of those things that just kind of perpetuated itself, and therefore it creates an expectation that you just kind of assume they were rivals, whether they were or not.
Yeah, I think I mean, the reality of our lived experience was our version of Wikipedia was your friend heard from his brother, who heard from the guy who sells him weed at the convenience store. Like you just, and the older the person was that it came from, like, they must know because they're older. And I mean, I think people who listen know that we try to be responsible with sourcing things, and like in a more modern era, like we'll find some wild bonkers thing we'll be able to trace down, like, oh, it came from the Ray survival guide or whatever, right? Like,
right.
I really struggle with some of the things that I just grew up with because I don't think they're documented in the same way. There's those people who have that deep bench knowledge, like Bob Hidalgo or like Phil Sostak will post stuff. Like, I'm sure it is on the back of this specific trading card or in this storybook, or maybe it's in the radio adaptations that I haven't listened to in years. It can be harder to Google some of the stuff that I knew when I was a kid because I don't remember where it was from, and it's harder to look up.
Right. And going in, Ethan follows up, see, I'm a 90s kid. I always heard about them being riles, but really, when I think about it, I'm not sure where the evidence for that is. And Saul, Schmodown's own Dark Empire 2, found a lot of those Han versus Boba types. Yeah, and that just made sense. But even then, I would think the Legends or Expanded Universe stuff probably comes from someone growing up in the 80s and just assuming, well, me and my friend Terry, we just knew they were rivals because Jonathan told us, and there you go. Someone read a letter to the editor at Starlog, and here we are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But that's a fun one, and seeing like exactly where the comic book, Sir Marshall says that comic books go into the Han Boba history a bit, and it's been a long time I read the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy in Legends back in the day, and I think there was some stuff there. But like, even before late 80s, early 90s, maybe it's in some of those Marvel comics too. Fascinating stuff.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
A few more minutes here in the show. We're having fun hanging out with you, so we're not quite done. And I got some Zevia in here as well. This is not straight rum, everybody, but still got a little bit left in the drink. Joseph, anything jumping out to you?
Yeah, let's see. I started some stuff. Oh, hey, here's a practical one. Ethan Truman. Hey, Ethan, we're back. In the before times, pre-pandemic, you guys would have guests from time to time. Any plans to do so in the future? I think this. Ken, feel free to jump in, but I feel like a big part of that is just timing. I know we talk about time a lot, but it just does add more time to book a guest. Be respectful of their schedule, because we get into our rhythm and we have the dates and the times that we record, and when you go to a guest, you want to be like, hey, anytime. And then instead of like, we record at exactly this time on Monday Pacific time, be at your computer. So for me, it's often a challenge of time.
Yeah.
And then we always want to a lot of times if we're having a guest, we want to do something kind of special with them. We want to do a Force Center meets, or we want to have a specific thing for a themed episode that, like, back in the day, we would do like a music episode with Tony Thaxton, with like an actual musician. So I think it's also we're in this rhythm where the news and the cues are a lot of what we do, and it doesn't make as much sense to have a guest. So those are a couple of reasons.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. You're saying all the things that are kind of going on. I love this question. Yeah, I the last guest we had on in that kind of capacity, Riley Silverman, talking about her great book about Tatooine. The Force Center meet stuff is wonderful. We had the James Arnold Taylor interview you can find. It's also on the YouTube channel, because we shot it in my old apartment with that couch and that camera I had. So yeah, we still intend to. In fact, one of the ways we're going to do this is through our new show, Figure Fights, exclusively here on YouTube. We're going to have a chance to bring in people and have some fun. And bring back people like Mike Black and Audrey Kearns and a lot of the people that would Andres Cabrera, those kind of folks. We love that. Schedule wise, it's hard. That's just kind of the boring side of it as well. And look, I try to choose my words carefully here, but like, we want to make sure Force Center, if you're coming to Force Center, that Star Wars is discussed in a certain way, which is not blindly positive, or you can only talk about Star Wars the way Joseph, Jennifer, and I do. But sometimes guests can be a wild card, and you have to kind of play with the fire every now and then. We never really invite anyone on that doesn't that we already don't really know or understand their view on Star Wars. And again, doesn't mean we don't allow dissenting opinions or different thoughts. But sometimes you and I learned in Jedi Alliance, Joseph, like, you'd set some rules. Hey, around here, we celebrate the prequels. And then someone would just come on and crap on them, which is their right. And it's not saying that it's not but then the audience is kind of like, hey, it's not what we come to.
Yeah. I mean, the funny version of this, it really did happen on one of the times I was hosting Jedi Alliance, and I won't name the guest. No, it wasn't the guest's fault. Normally the guest would come on and we'd say, hey, we got two rules. One, don't swear, because then YouTube dings us, so no swearing. And the second one is, feel free to dislike anything you don't like in Star Wars, but try to say it in a nice way, in a respectful way. In particular, we want to let you know that our audience really loves the prequels. So we'd tell every guest that, and even the guest would be like, man, okay, I'll be gentle on my prequel dislike. So it wasn't about limiting anybody's opinion. We had this one guest, and we got there late. We didn't have time to tell him the two rules. And like, no joke, we had our little intro of like, well, tell us about your journey on Star Wars. And like, the first thing he said is like, well, probably best thing to know about me is I effing hate the prequels. So like, out of the gate.
And again, valid opinion.
Valid opinion, expressed passionately. Our fault, because we didn't have time to share those, so it wasn't the guest's fault, but that's always stuck with me as,
but and you guys have got some great comments in here. Amaranth, we like you just the way you are. Ethan says, hey, to be clear, hey, you guys are enough. No, we love bringing folks on. We love it, and I think Joseph said something that's the most valuable part of this answer is we want to do something cool and special with them. We don't want them just to come on and talk about the news. We have fun doing that. The questions are great, but the work with them. But yeah, figure fights and stuff like that. It's a great way to just have fun celebrating Star Wars with people.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to be a great place to bring in some more voices. All right, I think we have just a couple more questions, huh, Ken?
We do. This one seems like it's a preview for figure fights, though we don't have necessarily kind of figures. But Michael Gibbons Media says Night Sister versus Hot Wampa. Who wins? I guess I'm assuming it's some kind of physical or spiritual confrontation. But if it's in a catwalk, Hot Wampa's got everything in a running away. So
Yeah.
what do you got there?
The audience wins in this battle, of course. I mean, by seeing this. No, I think off the top of my head, I think the Night Sisters got it.
Mm-hmm.
That Hot Wampa shouldn't have come to death, Amir.
No, shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have done it. That's
But I
great.
hope they have a party together. Yes, and just enjoy some green ichor from the depths of Dathomir together.
Yeah, love that. I love that. Great stuff here. Quick, another programming question here from Lauren Roma of the Galactic Podcast. Hey, Lauren. Also, a damn good Fortnite player, Lauren Roma. Is Star Wars Rank still going to be a segment? Yeah, absolutely. Not by any means done delivering Star Wars Rank. In fact, we got a cool one coming up this week in celebration of 5 years of The Last Jedi. Joseph and I don't want to speak for you, Joseph, of course, but we love doing Data Bank Dive. That's been a lot of fun. It also, it's kind of an easier show to record. And that's kind of what we really kind of need right now. We hope you're all enjoying the journey. Star Wars Ranked will be there in a special capacity when we feel we have something really good. We never mailed it home, and that's part of the problem. We never mailed home a Star Wars Ranked list. And we've just over like 150 episodes of Star Wars Ranked. There's only so many times you can rank best capes in Star Wars without repeating yourself. So we wanted to pull back a little bit on that show and make it fresh again, which I think we're doing. We had a cool one, the best Andor moments, and coming up we got a Last Jedi themed one coming your way soon.
Yeah, very excited for that. So we got this one we want to be sure to share from Jake Monica. Jake says, how much is a green milk phosphate in SoCal these days, Ken and Joseph? Ken, do you have the factual answer to this question?
I don't. I do love Jake's making a reference. I love talking about raspberry phosphates like I'm from the 40s and 50s. I don't know. It's probably expensive. Times are tough. Let's be honest. Times are tough. And so I imagine there's a place, I'll shout them out, whether there's a place in Toluca Lake called Creation. They're around LA, Creation with a K. And our pal Mark Ellis goes there, often runs into Hayden Christensen. They have a wonderful shake. It's healthy. It's beautiful. It's $20. It's insane. So I imagine a green milk phosphate is around $19.99 price to go.
Yeah. I walked by Johnny Rockets on the way to see The Fablemans, which, by the way, I really enjoyed that movie, The Fablemans. And it looked like Johnny Rockets was not respecting the prices of the 1950s. So I'm going to say at least $20 for a green milk phosphate.
That's a great question. Great question. Still Bill shouting us out here. Thank you guys for all you do. No, thank you for listening. Look, Joseph and I would be talking Star Wars with Jennifer if no one was listening, but we're happy to have you all. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and may the force be with you, and to you as well, Still Bill.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe are we down to our final question here? I think
I think so. Our final question. Oh, and there's another one. Another programming one. It's a good time. We're heading to the new year. We'll answer some programming questions. But yeah, I think you got that one there, and we'll go to another one here in a second.
Okay, great. Yeah. So this is of the season. What figure are you hoping to get for Christmas? Everything. Yeah, that is
I'll do the lucid one. Everything.
Ken, you are a collector, maybe not as obsessive as I have become this year.
It's not that I'm not as obsessive. I hit the toy aisle probably just as much as you. I just can't purchase anymore. So I've pulled back on those. But the Lego one, I'm a big Lego fan. I think more than you. I don't think you collect those as much as I do, if at all. And so there, every time I see some of the new ones, I'm like, I'd love to build them. But up in this, I always mention it, but up right here in this closet, you guys can't see. It's about 4 feet from my hands. I have Jabba's Palace, Cloud City, and the Death Star, among others. I've got to build those and play, as my parents would say, play with the toys you have, and then you can get new ones.
Trying to look up the name of the character very, very quickly, because I have got a lot of figures on pre-order, I have some that I still haven't opened from the box, so I can give myself a holiday present if I want. I have the Black Series Boba Fett from Droids that I'm going to be giving
Yeah,
myself for the holiday.
that's beautiful.
One that I have not purchased online because I don't know that this figure is going to fly off the shelves. And when I give myself the joy of finding this figure, and it is the Bespin security guard 3 3/4 vintage figure Helder Spinoza.
Got it. You got it.
If you want to give yourself a treat, Google Helder Spinoza. Not only is he the most board detached character on the card than we've ever seen in Star Wars, great figure. And I believe if you go to Entertainment Earth, where I pick up some of my figures online, they have him posed to look like he's got his arms behind his back, like a good security guard.
Yeah.
But because the way the character is sculpted, he looks like he's giving himself a lower back massage.
Like doing the yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Elder Spinoza's had a long day here on Bestman's. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Yeah. Speaking of toys, Saul adds, I'm aggressively geeking out over these micro galaxy ships, which are pretty much the 21st century of action fleets. My desk looks like a ship for Mandar. I have a lot of those too. And those are great. Those are great because I'll be at 7-Eleven buying a sandwich for dinner. And like, you'll be like, oh, an AT-AT. And like, you just pick them, you don't expect them, and then into your life that way. That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Jared says, doing for you say no big internight play set completely wet net. Yeah, that'd be great. We want that.
Oh, please. Wet nets. You can capture any of your figures now with Dewey and Freedy's Biggie Wet Net.
Yeah, we are almost out of here, but we've got this one here from Christopher Lamb. Hey, Christopher, our pre-made videos, like video essays, something you guys would be down to make. You guys are profound as it is, but I'd love to hear your deep dives with time to write out your thoughts. So yeah, that's part of the announcement, and we'll remix the big announcement here in a second. Yeah, we have things out there like the little Leia thing is out there that I did. Don't forget, like Joseph's Star Wars counselings are on in the podcast form, which are kind of these beautiful essays themselves. You got the Rey's journey in in the sequel trilogy, but also a lot of the Rise of Skywalker stuff is on there as well. But yeah, Joseph, that's part of the announcement. We've got some ideas for short form, like maybe 2 minutes. We want to kind of get in and out with our thoughts, helps our workflow, but also gets our thoughts out there in bite-sized fashion. So we do have some Star Wars essays coming.
We do, yeah. So Ken and I are still talking about the exact length, but we do really want to be able to take maybe some of the things that you regular listeners has probably heard us talk about a lot that are close to our hearts. We've got some things that are kind of new that we haven't really been able to crystallize, but like I also, would maybe like to do one about nostalgia in Star Wars, or kind of tip of the iceberg. What does that mean? Some of the things that we talk about a lot, I think we want to put in a nice crystallized little form, and be ready to talk about some of the new things that come up that mean a lot to us. But more on that coming soon.
More on that coming soon. All right. I think that's it. I think there's some other little questions coming in. Oh, Ethan wants to know, how do you feel about windowless packaging? That might be a half-hour essay that you're going to write, but
I might write a half-hour essay. I'll keep it really short. Like, I get that any change is hard, but I accept that times need to evolve, and I think having less plastic is something I believe in personally. Also, right now, the way they're doing it for the Black Series, it is kind of nice for me. And the Vintage Deluxe Boba Fett. One of the reasons that I don't like opening as many figures is I don't like ripping apart the packaging in a way that it kind of can't be put together again. So being able to just slit open tape and kind of put it back together again. I don't care about it being mint or not mint. For me, it's about like tearing the actual art. So for a lot of reasons, 3 of those reasons, I'm okay with the windowless packaging.
Yeah, change is hard. You're right. But you and I always preach, hey, find your place and change. And I get it. And it's kind of a fun little mystery box in of itself there. So
yeah, I hope that's in there.
Yeah, that's in there. All right, that's it. Oh my gosh, 2 hours and 15 minutes hanging out with all of you. It seems like 5 minutes. We have a lot of fun. I'll be doing this in January and more on the way. And who knows? Yeah, like I said, we said before we dressed, we know a lot of people across the pond. A general just, hey, a lot of you don't live in America. This time zone, this time 4 p.m. Pacific kind of works for us. in our lives. But during 2023, we'll have some live streams at different times to allow people in other parts of the world to listen to us. We really appreciate our international fans. But Joseph, let's remix this big announcement before we get out of here. I'll let you talk about it. We have announced our YouTube-only show, Force Center Figure Fights, coming your way in February.
That is right. What is figure fights? Well, you know the familiar question of which Star Wars character would win in a fight. That's a great question, but we're going to take it a little somewhere different. We are going to ask, which figure would win in this fight? Would Hondo Ohnaka be able to beat two Jawas? Probably not, but we're going to find out on Figure Fights.
Figure Fights coming your way. Me, Joseph, Jennifer, guests along the way down the line. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is going to help us celebrate Star Wars even more. That is it for our live stream today. 2022 has been a great year for us at Force Center as we plow through this world and find a nice little warm Star Wars bubble. So I'll say goodbye, pitch it to you, Joseph, to say goodbye as well, then we'll get on out of here.
Thank you all very much. We're really enjoying making this a regular thing that once a month we spend Friday afternoon, evening, from our perspective, with all of you everywhere who can find time to watch and listen to us. It's such a great time to feel like we're actually really just hanging out with fellow Star Wars fans. Thank you all very much. And as Obi-Wan never actually said, goodbye there.
Goodbye there. We'll see you next time here on Force. Force Center.